Did your lips get as chapped as mine on the ride down? If so, apply a generous amount of bad movies rule, the worst movie podcast ever recorded. And today we got the machine punter mummer in the house. Mel Vandy, the shoe salesman, is on break and at the table. And the human movie database is logged in and ready to roll. We got Ryan Farrell with us today on BMR, and we're talking about me, myself, and Irene. And I think it's worth noting, over at the kids' table, for the second episode in a row, how'd we get so lucky? Brady Cox is in the house.
Hello.
What's up, my guy?
Thank you for letting me sit here.
Yeah, as long as you just keep your mouth shut and let the adults do the talking, I think this is going to work out fine for everybody.
Yeah, color some books or do some highlights over there.
Something over there, dude. Seriously.
There are highlights over here. There's a nice Goofus and Gallant.
Do it. Nice. Well, we don't have any crayons left, but you can at least look at the pictures, try and find the hidden objects.
Yeah, if they're not all done by the mayor.
That's what I like to do with highlights still. Anytime I go to the dentist office.
I wish I knew. I would have brought my highlights.
What?
You have highlights?
Yeah.
Like at your house? I thought
just steal them?
I have a subscription to highlights.
Dude, I'm crazy. I thought the only people that had subscriptions to highlights were dentists and doctors.
No, I got highlights that come every month.
For yourself?
For my son.
Oh.
It's courtesy. It's courtesy of grandma.
Your grandmother got you a highlights subscription.
my son's grandmother.
It's because she always wished you'd been a doctor. That's why.
Yes.
Well, my grandma got me highlights. I still get mine regularly.
Am I crazy? I thought I was the only person that didn't have highlights subscription.
No, not for my kids, but for me. Like my
You as an
grandma
adult
got
man.
me my And now my grandma's gone, and I still have the highlights coming.
Okay, how old were you when your grandma got it for you?
I think I was like 8.
All right,
9,
that's fine.
10.
So you got like 30 plus years of highlights?
I didn't keep them all.
Grandma has spent $10,000
I was
over the course of her life.
She just forgot.
Subscription. Do you have one too? Am I the only one that doesn't have one?
No, that's just dumb.
All right. For a second, I thought I was going crazy and everyone but me had a highlights
They're
subscription.
worth it.
I guess so.
Worth it.
They have recipes now.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the magazines I get have recipes and articles, and I mean, I don't
Hidden
read them
objects.
for the
Find the
and
hidden
the hidden objects. Find the hidden objects.
All
Yes.
right. Well, those articles
Find the ball.
I hear are good. I wouldn't know. The movie, so we're talking about today, is Me, Myself, and Irene. The
Yes.
movie was directed by Bobby Farrelly.
Chris Farley,
No. Bobby
No?
Farrell. Bobby and Peter Farrelly.
The Farrelly brothers.
Pharrell
Farrelly?
Williams.
The Fratellis?
Like in Goonies?
Portillo's.
No.
No.
All right, hold on. Time out, guys, because I really concentrated hard on this. It's got 2 R's and 2 L's. So it's not Farley like Chris Farley.
It's like Farrell. Like,
Right. It's like my name with a Y.
are you related to them?
No.
Oh.
Barely.
Farrelly.
Barely.
Barely.
Related.
So you're barely a Farrelly.
Barely a fairly.
Got it.
Then how is it Pharrell?
I'm honestly about to abandon this entire episode and just talk about how to pronounce these guys' last name.
I mean, you've had a lot of practice at it by now.
Is it Peter Farrelly or is it Farley?
Farrelly.
Does it matter?
They're not Italian.
No.
Could we go any Farley with this?
Oh, God.
Is that do we beep for that?
Is that a pun?
We can get it.
Yes.
And since you're on the pun counter seat, you got to hit the red button to add a pun to the.
Yes. I'm honored.
There we go.
There it is.
Dude, that was
All
the
right.
best. My day is complete.
The movie was written by Peter and Bobby Farrelly.
Yep.
Farrelly.
Yeah, and Mike Cerrone. Mike Cerrone also co-wrote Three Stooges and Dumb and Dumber 2.
Ooh, I
he-
do like
is-
the Three Stooges movie.
Is he related to Rye Cerrone?
I don't know who that is.
He's a San Francisco treat.
That's Rice Aroni.
That's what I said.
Mel.
Is that a pun? Do we count that?
Count it. Yeah. So this is the first, but I don't think. Obviously, we know the Dumb and Dumber, the original, is a Farrelly Brother movie. In there.
Sure, and that won't ever be on here.
No. And there's at least one. I mean, something about Mary has got to be.
There's that other one that there's something about that movie that just won't end up on this podcast.
That's going to be on Good Movies That Are Good. That's a different, different show. But
even Kingpin, though. Like
Kingpin, I don't know if I haven't checked. That's probably
It's
borderline.
marginal.
It's probably borderline. But if it is, we'll see. If we can, but anything after 2000 is fair game, right?
Stuck on You. That's another one
literally.
they did.
Shallow Hal. That's
a good one.
That's aged really well. We got the Three Stooges.
Which I love that movie.
Okay, yeah, can you just
That's
say
my
you loved
favorite.
it? But that,
I do.
I like the actual Three Stooges, not like these guys doing a cheap impression of the Three.
It's like they did a seance and just took their spirit and put
That
him
can't
into.
be that. You're telling me that Will Sasso is as good as Curly?
Yes, he is great as Curly.
Think about what you're saying, dude.
Yes,
He
I'm
loved
thinking
that
about it.
movie.
I did. I loved it.
I remember you
loved
telling me
it.
about it after you saw it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "You're not selling me."
I can't wait till we talk about
Sean Hayes,
it. Great as Larry.
really?
Yes.
That other guy that no one
Yeah,
knows.
he's Mo. He's really good as Mo.
Yeah, he's a Mo.
Oh.
Seriously. This is the first Jim Carrey movie we've ever done, you guys. The movie
Yes.
starred.
Doesn't feel like it though.
But it is. Because,
Really?
Yeah, look.
Well, we almost did Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls.
Right.
Yeah.
But then Steph went with Tremors instead.
Right. And so
Which was golden.
at some
Yes.
point,
Yeah.
there are, I mean, if you look at his career, there are other movies that will qualify. We just haven't done them yet. The majority of them won't. I mean, a lot of them are very, very good.
I mean, I would say like it would start with Batman Forever, right?
Batman Forever probably definitely. Ace Ventura 2 probably qualifies.
Yeah.
Yes,
Beyond that, you're into like
that's what I'm saying.
Truman
Really-
Show was good. Liar Liar was good.
Earth Girls are easy.
Earth Girls are easy.
Oh, there's a good one.
Good. That's
Yeah,
a good
if you want to
shout
go
out
early
there.
career,
Yep,
sure.
yep.
Once Bitten,
Oh, yes.
for
Once
sure.
bitten.
Probably qualifies. And then, in the, what is it, late Mr. Popper's Penguins? I don't know. Is that a beloved?
Actually, I
liked
just
it.
saw that and it wasn't bad.
No?
Yeah, it was a
I liked
cute
it.
movie.
Fun with Dick and Jane?
That wasn't
Well,
bad either. That was okay.
Yeah. It might qualify,
It
though.
probably qualifies,
Yeah,
yeah.
qualified by the critics rating.
We'll see. The movie also starred Renee Zellweger. Daniel Green is back from Hands of Steel. I don't care because I can never remember. Were any of you on the Hands of Steel episode?
Yes.
You were.
Yes.
Okay, thank goodness.
Almost.
At least one person has lived through. I'm sure no one else watched it.
No,
I almost
didn't get to see it.
almost
Oh, you
did.
guys got to watch it.
Yeah.
I know if you didn't have to for the episode, no one else was going to, so I don't hold that against you. But oh my gosh, the further we get away from the episode, the more I love this movie.
There's some movies. There are some movies I've bought and watched just
Yes.
because of our list continues to grow.
It's on YouTube for free.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, then I'll
Did
have
you
to
watch
check it
yet,
out.
Brady?
No, I haven't.
Brady, it's great. He crushes people's heads with his hands of steel.
with his hands of steel. That's
right.
the plot.
Really?
All
He
right.
does this like butterfly backhand chop on dudes. One point he gets a punch through a guy's visor and he goes like knuckles like this and just goes.
Oh, I remember that in the
right through
trailer.
yeah.
I got to watch the trailer with you guys.
So good.
That was the closest I got to the movie.
And so that's the guy that plays Dickie in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
yeah, that
Hands of
guy.
Steel. Yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
that guy.
And his acting has not improved.
Nope.
Chris Cooper.
Did you? I hate to jump on this one, but did
Yeah.
you see the Schwarzenegger tie-in already?
There is one?
Yeah. The bad guy from Kindergarten Cop hands them the keys in the hotel room.
Well, that's true. He's actually in almost maybe every Farrelly.
Fairly.
He's in all those movies.
Is
He
he?
is. Yes, Richard Tyson.
Is he like a buddy of theirs?
Richard
is.
Tyson and
The guy that plays
The guy
Finneran.
that has the chicken
Yep.
company?
Makes good chicken.
Yeah.
The guy that plays Finneran hit like the other kind of cop besides Robert Forrester, the tall dude that
Yeah.
is
What's
Buck
his
Carey's
name?
son.
Bob Moran.
I don't know what his real name. I mean, it's
Something Moran.
Finneran in the movie.
Yeah.
but he's in pretty much every one of Peter and Bob's
Yeah,
movies.
he was the
wow.
bartender in Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber.
Then he was the gangster in Kingpin.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yep.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That guy's awesome. I love
And
that
then
guy.
the dude you're talking about, Richard Tyson, and this guy, they were the troopers in Something About Mary that beat up Ben Stiller.
Yes.
Well, he was in the interrogation room.
Yeah,
with
and then
him.
with
he's
the-
like, "You make me sick," and
You
he's
make
like,
me
he's
sick.
wiping his
Yeah.
mouth.
Wiping his
Yeah,
mouth.
he's wiping his mouth with the
Beating him into the table.
Yep. Those are those guys.
Yeah, this isn't your first time, is it? He's like, hitchhikers? No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie had a budget of $51 million and a box office of $150 million because we're in peak Carrey season here. So, like, it's going to make money. And that might not sound like a lot today, but in the 90s, right at the end of the 90s,
2000.
2000,
2000.
whatever this was.
2000.
Oh, that's right. It's the year before Grinch, which was 01, right? Mm-hmm. 2000, $150 million was a good day at the office for a comedy.
That was a good day at the office for most movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Movie, this is where the ratings get weird as far as how it qualifies for this show, because the movie is rated at a 6.6 on IMDb,
Yeah.
which usually is in line with the audience score from Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is rotten there at 57%. And the critics are even lower at 48%. So the critics and the audience both declared on Rotten Tomatoes that this is a bad movie.
Yeah. So it just kind of made the cutoff just by that much, huh?
Well, for the audience, because 60% is where it's fresh. And so by a wider margin for the critics, yeah, but it was close. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and go through this movie. And for those of you that have never joined us before, we'll go scene by scene through the whole thing. We will ultimately dissect it. We'll roast the parts that need to get roasted. And then at the end, we're going to try and make a determination. Is this actually a bad movie, or is it a good movie? And all the critics and the audience members were wrong. It's rated too low. And maybe we can acknowledge, okay, it's a bad movie, but maybe it's a bad movie that rules, meaning it's enjoyable, it's fun. So that's what we're going to do. So strap in, because we're about to jump into this movie. Now, have any of you seen this movie prior to this episode?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Saw it in the theater.
All right, so no one's coming in like as a first timer.
No, this is I feel like this is kind of a staple of the time period.
I mean, most of you guys know me from high school, and I was
The Jim Carrey guy.
the Jim Carrey guy.
Carrey fan.
Most of the people in high school knew me.
You know what we got to do? We got to put it out on the page, man. We got to put your Ace Ventura picture out there from when you had hair.
When I had hair.
And he did the wave and the whole thing.
That was my last. That was my last ditch effort. Most people like grow their hair out because they want to get like, I'm going to do a mullet or a ponytail, and I was
Not
like,
you.
I want to do the Ace Ventura. I need to do the cockatoo and get it on there, and that's what I did. I
did, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I
And
came
your
to school
hair journey
for
was
Halloween.
complete?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I didn't have much after that.
Now I want to grow a mullet.
Dude, I would pay anything for you to do that.
Absolutely.
I'd love to.
What's it going to cost?
Do they allow?
I don't know.
The shoe store allow that?
Shoe store will allow it, yeah.
Because you've just
we
had
need to get him a mullet.
you've had a buzz cut for my whole life.
For most of it, yeah.
I mean, almost.
I had a mullet in 6th grade.
You
and
did
that was the last
when
time.
I first met you.
Yes.
But since then, it's been the same haircut his whole life.
Yeah.
Are we
high
going
and
with
tight.
like the side shaved
look-
and kind of like shaggy on top?
Yes.
Or yeah.
The full-on mullet.
Yeah.
I will raise money. Okay, and the patrons, maybe they'll kick in on some of this.
All right, we'll see what we can do
We'll
with
start
the
a
patrons.
GoFundMe.
All right, we'll start a
Before you
GoFundMe.
shave
start
that
a
off,
GoFundMe.
though,
Yeah.
you need to get the racing stripes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we can get a picture of it.
This will be great.
For sure.
This
for
will
sure.
be great.
All right.
No more out of you over there, okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad.
If you want to reach out to the show, the best way to do that is to email us. And, people have been sending in questions, stories, suggestions for movies, whatever you want to do. Send us an email at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. We understand we're the worst movie podcast of all time. We want an email that reflects it. So it's thisshowIstrash, all one word, at gmail.com. And also, if you want to get email from us, you can join our email list. And we send out a monthly newsletter. We send out the list from which we've been tallying all the movies we pull from for the episodes. It's up to almost 700 at this point.
Yeah, we got like 13 years of content.
That's right. You can jump on badmoviesrule.com and sign up for that there.
It went from 11 years to 13 years?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
It's if we did one a week for 13 years and never added another one, which we will. So again, as I've said, we have now somehow been subjugated and roped into we are going to be cataloging trash till the day we die.
Yes.
And that's, I guess,
I mean,
their worst
13
thing.
years, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably be dead by then.
Yeah.
Right?
We gotta get some young guys in here.
We're going to have to get, it's going to be Grace and whoever else that takes over.
the next
Are you
generation
leaving it to her in your will?
So heaven help the next group of people that come in.
You get BMR.
Because BMR 2040 is going to sound a lot different than it does right now.
That'll be something.
Oh,
My
all our
goodness.
kids are in here.
We'll get there to 2040, and the list will be still longer than it is now. It won't have come down at all.
No, at that point, you're going to have
1,500.
20 plus more years.
Right, exactly. So we'll see. And if you guys could do me one more favor before we jump in here, we've been enjoying success the last year. We've really grown the show. We appreciate that. You guys have all been jumping on in all different ways. I've heard all kinds of different stories about how and where people have found us. But in the relative terms of podcasting, we're still an indie show. We're still a small show. It'd be great if you could tell a friend about us. Tell your grandmother, call her up. She'd say, hey, Grandma, cancel that highlight subscription. But what you could do for me instead is you could start listening to Bad
right.
Movies.
There's a new podcast.
I was going to say, tell your grandma there's a new podcast in town.
That's right. There's a new old podcast.
Quit stealing my lines.
We're joined. Yeah, and by the time this comes out, we're probably going to be right around 2 years. It's like May 7th, I think, coming up. And so I know it's not that yet.
Nice.
Yeah.
But by the time this comes out, we're probably
Congratulations.
past 2 years at this point. So,
Wow.
yeah, man. It's still a baby, though, in terms of some of the people out there have been doing this for a lot longer than we have. So we appreciate it. All right. You guys ready to jump into this movie?
Yeah, let's do it.
In 2042, though, all podcasts are BMR.
We're the only podcast to survive the podcast wars.
Right.
Podcast wars.
Right. So now all podcasts are BMR.
Awesome.
That'd be terrible. Valley of the Jolly Green Giant.
I love that
Everything's
scene.
just a spin
I
off.
love that scene.
All right. So just to give you guys a little synopsis for me, myself, and Irene, the basic story is this. They're like, all right, Jim Carrey, you're going to play two characters. So he plays a cop, a Rhode Island State Trooper who has a split personality, and the two personalities are Charlie and Hank. And he has to take Renee Zellweger's character up to New York on a summons, basically, is escorting her up there, and all kinds of shenanigans break out from there.
Right.
But essentially, that's the setup or the premise of the film. It's really,
And Renee Zellweger is named Irene.
and she's named Irene. So it's
P.
me,
Waters.
myself, and Irene
Right,
is
right.
the three of them, which is really just two people physically, three people mentally.
Did you know that the Farrelly brothers actually came up with the title before they even wrote the screenplay?
Seriously?
And they based the whole screenplay off of the title.
And they probably very early on in the process said, okay, if we're going to get somebody to play someone with a split personality,
Yeah.
who would we want for that?
Gary Busey.
Who have we already worked with?
That's somebody that has a split personality, someone that could play someone with a split personality.
Oh, wow.
And and who we worked with before, because they'd already done Dumb and Dumber together.
Right.
And so this was great casting. Jim Carrey.
I was going to say, this is their big triumphant return. I mean,
Yeah.
Farrelly brothers they got Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin, Something About Mary in the can. Jim Carrey had the 90s in the can. This is 2000, the pinnacle of the successes of all of them.
Yeah.
And we end up with this.
I love it. And I'm excited to see what you guys think about this as we go through. So the movie starts in a flashback, essentially. This is 1981. This is 18 years, 1982, whatever it is, 18 years prior to present day. And we see Charlie as, at this point, a well-adjusted, well-rounded individual, lounging with his fiancee, soon-to-be wife, Layla, who's that girl from Three Guys in a Pizza Place.
Yeah, Trailer Howard.
Thank you. Couldn't think of her name.
She's in Monk.
Is she really?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I remember
Yeah,
from.
it's Monk.
The only thing I could put her in was that Ryan Reynolds TV show. And
Two guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
Two guys, a girl.
I mean,
and
that
a
was
pizza place.
classics. That was classic 90s TV.
For sure.
Yeah. And then she's in Dirty Work.
Yeah.
Is
Norm Macdonald?
Dirty Work?
Yes, I
was Anne-
forgot.
That was Anne Hesh, I thought.
No.
And
it's Trailer.
And Heish, you simpleton.
Well,
Hash?
R.I.P.
I was going to say.
Hey, rest in peace, Anne.
She's
Throwing up.
passed away
What?
now.
She passed?
Yeah, she drove into a house.
Like in a car?
Yeah.
In a car.
Yes.
Wow.
Like recently.
That's rough.
Yeah, imagine you're sitting in your living room and you're watching Volcano with Anne Heche.
And she just comes busting in.
And she erupts through the wall.
She says, "Oh yeah."
Oh, now we can't say that joke on the Volcano episode. That's all right.
Save for that. I wish I knew.
I'm assuming Volcano's happening at some point.
Yeah. It's like
a
in the-
terrible movie
It's in the 5s on
that
IMDb.
I love.
So do I.
I love the crap out of
Yeah,
Volcano.
Volcano is way better than Dante's Peak.
That's a pun. You need to add that to
That's
the
right.
I'll
Hit the-
pun myself.
yeah, you punned yourself.
All right, so Charlie and Layla are wearing pictures of each other.
Matching shirts but of each other. Yeah.
Is that a red flag if your girlfriend is into wearing shirts with your face on it? I feel like it's a red flag.
Yeah, I would say so.
Mel, you've dated a lot of women.
You know, you got to explain the whole tie-dye thing to me, man.
All right, they get married, and after she promises to stay with him forever, she'll even eat whale blubber if they have to survive in the Arctic or
Right.
whatever.
And they have to move to the Arctic and all
And
that. Yeah.
they get married, and the first real scene of the movie is Charlie being super racist to this tiny
Oh yeah,
limo
so
driver.
racist.
He's just a little racist.
Right? No, not the guy. He was just a little racist. I'm talking about Charlie was being super racist.
He just
to the
asked him a
little guy.
question.
Yeah, he was like,
He
all
said, "Do you
was-
people take checks?"
He was talking down to the guy, though. The entire time.
He was literally talking down.
He was literally trying to compensate him for his services.
I know, but we can't say "you people."
Since when?
He said, "Do you people take checks?" And obviously, the guy got set off because he said, as Layla came out to find out what's all the commotion about, he said, "This guy doesn't believe that people like us don't know how to cash a check."
Don't you dare say the N-word in this house. And he was like, I didn't even say that. Who? Me? I didn't.
Yeah, and then pulls out nunchucks and is literally coming at
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. And Jim Carrey slapping him in the face.
And they start a fight over this.
Because he doesn't want to hit him.
No, because he thinks he's being. He's like, why don't you just pay me in a cartload of watermelon or a bucket of fried chicken? Because we just love fried chicken. I'm like, all right. All jokes aside, I'm not even a black guy. I would get paid in a bucket of fried chicken.
I love fried chicken.
Because it's my favorite.
Extra crispy, baby, all the way.
I know on the Discord with our patrons. By the way, if you're not on the Patreon, you can be on the Discord and chat with us on there. They all know I've talked about how fried chicken's my favorite.
I don't know why KFC doesn't just sell you a bucket of chicken skins.
Just the skin.
It's so good. Just deep fry it and just
Let's do it.
be fantastic.
$1 million idea. How much money you want to make, KFC? Call us.
Yeah. Oh, look at us. We got the unbreaded chicken sandwich.
But as he's getting hit with nunchucks by this little,
Which
he's
is
like,
great.
He's this. I don't know. He's about the size of Vern Troyer. He's not like a regular little person.
Yeah.
He's like even smaller.
Well, he's what's his name? Tony Cox.
Cox.
Yeah, he's from Spaceballs.
And from Bad Santa.
No
Yeah.
relation.
No.
No, none at all.
No.
I thought maybe it was like a little cousin or something.
No.
And as he's getting hit with nunchucks, Charlie is trying to slap him, but Layla is yelling at Charlie, "Don't you dare hit him! Stop hitting him!"
Yeah.
And if you're getting beat up by somebody with nunchucks, and your girlfriend's yelling at you, again, I ask, is that a red flag?
Yeah, red flag, big time.
I guess what I'm saying is there was lots of red flags here for Charlie that Charlie missed.
This whole time with Layla, that maybe that was all questionable.
It was all questionable.
Yeah.
Whole relationship.
Well, she's got him down on his knees.
And after Charlie goes inside, Layla's left alone with Shantae, the limo driver.
Yeah.
And finds out that the man is just driving this limo as a sociological experiment because he's a molecular geneticist.
He eased her worried mind.
Right. He was doing.
And he's the president of the Boston chapter of Mensa.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then she belongs to Mensa as well.
And she's like, "Oh, word, you want to bang?"
Snap.
Yep.
And I'm not exaggerating, really. That's kind of what happened. She gives him the doomy look.
Yeah, she like bites her lip and everything.
Yeah, and then
she
there's the
does
little love sparkles.
Yep.
That's right. Cut to, and then all the exposition is they're going through it pretty fast, and that's why we're doing this fast.
Well, they do have a narrator.
There is a narrator, which we should talk about in a second. But so they cut to the delivery room where she's delivering these triplets. But
Who knew?
But when they have the triplets look like Shantae Jr.
Yeah.
Or Shantae,
Yeah.
and not like Charlie.
No.
So they
and
come
it's
out.
great.
They come out of a different race. Is what you're
They
saying.
come out of a different race.
They
What the
come
hell
out
does that mean?
as a different race.
Yes.
Well,
they
the
do.
doctor even goes, it's a boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
But Charlie is so he's in denial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will not
Well,
acknowledge.
my favorite's when the second one's coming out.
Yeah.
And he's like, and she starts screaming, and then Charlie starts screaming. He's like,
Yes.
And then they kind of cut and
Now
go
that-
back to them being kids in a pool.
Yeah, now we're at a barbecue and it's like the kids are 3-4 years old, whatever, playing around in the pool, and like all the cop friends are over. And this is one of my favorite lines in the entire movie.
Yes.
It's Finneran, this guy that's like been in all these Fairley Brothers.
Yeah,
movies,
yeah.
Walks over. I like how because it's 1980 whatever at this point, they've all got the stashes.
Sweet
Everyone,
mustache.
Every single person.
every single cop at the barbecue has a mustache.
When it goes back to the year 2000, all the mustaches are gone. A nice little touch.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Finneran walks up to him and he's like, "Hey, you ever notice how your kids got kind of a year-round tan?" He's like, "My great-grandmother was half Italian, so yeah, that's probably why the water beads off their hair." And Charlie,
He just gets so mad. And he's chopping the giant kielbasa's on the grill. He's just chopping them down.
the man is so in denial that he thinks the reason they look like this is that his grandmother was half Italian, or he doesn't really believe it. but
Or he's
this is-
suppressing it.
He's suppressing and he's just justifying.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ultimately, we know where this leads.
Confessional.
Layla's like,
Oh.
"I'm out of here." Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the confessional,
Yeah.
yes, where the priest realizes it's him when he says, "Everyone in the town's laughing at me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, "Charlie, is that you?"
That was Bobby Farrelly, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that voice right there was
Nice.
Bobby Farrelly.
Not Bobby Farrelly.
We cut to the scene, and Shantae is pulled up in a car. Layla has packed her things, packing them in the car and leaving. She has a picture. Now she's wearing a T-shirt with a picture of Shantae on it.
Yes.
And I'm like, is that a red flag?
I think so.
Well,
I feel like it's another red flag when she's got the picture of another man that she's leaving with.
At least
Not the kids, though. Not the kids, though.
No.
The kids were not a red flag.
At least it was his face on there.
It's true. But you said you'd eat whale blubber as she pulls away. And
Oh, she gonna eat whale blubber as soon as I free Willie.
that's right. So this gross makeup.
That is the line.
And
I
this
love
is the
him
moment
so
where the
much.
narrator, we can talk about the narrator now, comes in and says, Charlie just swallowed and felt that slab of resentment or whatever
Down into his gut, yeah.
and that just he buried it all away. He suppressed all of his feelings.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the use of the narrator in this movie?
I liked him. I thought it was.
It sounded like the Motel 6 guy.
Maybe it was.
It wasn't. That was Tom
Maybe.
Burdette. No, it wasn't Tom Burdette. But it did sound
We'll leave the light on for you.
Owner of Motel 6.
That's right. Sounded just like that. Yeah. We'll leave the light on for you.
No, it was Rex Allen Jr.
Right.
Yeah, Rex Allen Jr. was the narrator.
I'm not a fan of using the narrator.
You're not?
Well,
No.
James, I'll tell you, this is one of the things we always discuss is how exposition comes across in films.
Mm-hmm.
And so this
Do
way
we
it was
discuss that?
by a
Yes.
narrator.
Voiceover, yeah.
Voiceover?
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even title cards that have, like, a paragraph that just scrolls up.
Yes, you have to pause to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars, not that that's a great movie
No,
or
but
anything.
It became
But-
part of it, but I get what you're saying.
In a state far, far away that should really be a city.
See, I guess I grew up watching Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
So like
Them
that
old
was,
Duke boys sure at it again.
Yeah, right before the commercial. They're at it again. What's going to happen?
There's an element of classicism to having a narrator.
Classicism.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Because, like, everything in the 40s and 50s had a narrator.
So you think it's elitist of the Farrellies to have a narrator?
I think they're educated filmmakers that have a deep, rich history, and they're trying to bring it forth in black comedies.
Here's the problem I have with the narrator. The narrator disappears about halfway through the movie.
Right, and then
You're not wrong.
reappears. Yeah,
You're not wrong.
Until the very end.
and right.
In the very end, and we'll talk about it when we get there, but in the most annoying way possible. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're basically using him as a device to get through the exposition.
The thing that comes is that this movie is like a 2.5-hour movie jammed under 2 hours.
Yeah, and for a comedy, man,
And for a comedy, that was
you got to be at 90 minutes. You have to.
Especially when all you hinge on is Jim Carrey playing two people.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to do it. I'll give it that. I mean, I'll give it that for sure. So again, we can't continue with the fast forward of his previous life before we get to present day. And Jim Carrey raises these kids, little Jamal, Lee Harvey, and Shantae Jr.
They go from watching Richard
Which
Pryor
I
to
think
Chris
is
Rock.
a fantastic joke right off the bat because, all right, so they're born, you're taking care of them, but one of them is named Shantae Jr.
Right.
Which the limo driver introduced himself as Shantae.
Yeah, I know.
So it's fantastic
It
that
is.
not only did he swallow that down, but the whole time he's calling his son the other guy's name. It's
I know.
fantastic.
I know, but he's such a good dad in this movie.
He is. He's
Isn't
great.
he great? I mean, the kids are the top 3 in their class.
Oh, out of 211.
Out of 211. That's
right.
Yes.
Watching
Top
Richard
Chris.
Pryor.
But the funny thing is, the reason they're so smart is because both of their parents are
From
Mensas.
Mensas.
Wait,
Right.
Yes.
Charlie's not their dad?
No, you see what
No.
happened was she banged the tiny little limo driver.
How are they so big?
I don't know.
Oh, wait. Right. Why did the dwarfism not...
Not only that, it seemed the opposite happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right,
That's
so
the diabetes.
there's this great scene where Charlie, now present day, the kids have all grown up, and he walks into the room and they're doing their homework, and this is one of the best scenes.
Yeah.
It illustrating how smart they are. Is they're sitting there doing quantum physics.
Yes.
Okay, and he's like, I can't figure out the atomic mass of this MFer. Like,
MF or Deuteron. Yeah.
it's like, it's just, he walks over, he's like, Enrico Fermi would roll over in his grave if he heard that stupid ass shit. Like, they're talking about, oh my gosh, it's such a great scene.
Their whole dynamic is
Yes.
one of
It's
the best
one of the
parts
best parts of the movie. Absolutely.
It's Anthony Anderson, and then I don't have the other two guys' names in front of me. The bigger kid, Shantae Jr., went on to do a few more things. But
That's
the guy
Jared Mixon.
but the guy that
Shantae
played Lee Harvey,
That's Mongo Brown.
that's it. He didn't do a ton of stuff after this. He did have a thing on Family Matters. I remember him very distinctly from an episode of Family Matters where he was like after Urkel for some money. He was like a gang member.
Oh, that was one of those very special
yes, it
episodes
was a
of Family
special
Matters.
episode of Family Matters.
Yes.
I remember him from that, but that's about it.
That's also a spinoff show.
So he comes over and Jim Carrey comes over to his kids like, "What's all the commotion about?" He's like, "Oh man, this quantum physics is confusing. If I don't buckle down, I'm gonna get another B+."
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
We
be
can't
whack.
let that happen. That'll be whack. Yeah.
And then he improvises a great moment. Jim Carrey, this was
Is
not
this when he
scripted.
has him to kiss him?
Yes.
Yeah.
He leans in, he goes, "Kisses," and you could see them all hesitate.
Yeah.
And think about it for a second.
Yeah.
And then one of them does it, and then and then even the last guy's like, "Okay, we got to do this."
I love how he's like, "Love you, daddy."
Mwah, daddy.
Yeah.
Anthony Anderson's
Yeah,
great. He's
he's
game for
great.
whatever, dude.
He's always been great.
And so in the real world, in his house, he seems to be lord of the manor and well loved, and the kids love him and everything. But then we find out in the real world, Charlie is a bit of a pushover.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
bit, that's an understatement. A massive pushover.
Well, this is the next scene. He walks out,
He doesn't even
And
get to his motorcycle.
doesn't even get to his motorcycle, and his neighbor's dog is just crapping on his lawn. And then you see the piles that this clearly happens on a regular basis.
on purpose. Like
On
he's
purpose.
pushing his dog with the
Right.
leash into
Well,
Charlie's
and he
yard.
ignores that and goes, "Hey, where's my paper?"
Hey, where's
and
my
And the
paper?
neighbor's like, "Oh, my wife's got it on the crapper."
That's right.
She's reading it, and he's
Yep.
like, "Oh." He's like, "Well, could I maybe have it back? Can't you get one at work?"
Right. It's like the double whammy.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, I
He
suppose
just
that's
kinda
like-
is like, yeah, I suppose I can. And goes
And you
about
just
his
see
day.
him kind of do the like, and I feel like that's Jim Carrey's typecast.
How so?
Well, it just seems like in every movie, almost every movie, he's a pushover to some degree, to where he's the guy that wins you over. So I mean, you look at Stanley Ipkiss.
I was gonna say he starts as a pushover.
Yeah, I
to then
mean,
have
even Liar Liar.
Yep.
Like he started, like he's trying to be,
literally the Truman Show is about him being
a
complete.
pushover. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So but he's very good at redeeming that quality and roping you in,
Mm-hmm.
and then being like, the comedy comes from this character being outlandish after that.
Yeah.
I always felt that was kind of his thing.
The comedy comes from
Yeah.
the character arc.
No, I agree. And this whole kind of setup before he does his first switch over is very effective in that he goes to essentially 3 different times he gets pushed over, or 4 if you count the guy with the crapping dog.
Yeah.
But he goes, first stop is at the barber shop.
Right.
Tries
Yes.
to get the guy to move the car.
Dick. Yeah.
And until the guy throws his keys at him and says, "Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you move it for me?"
Yeah.
Go ahead, park it around back or something.
And Charlie's
right?
got this. He almost cries, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, "This one." He goes and leaves, and then there's the little girl that won't get out of the street,
Yep.
jump roping.
Yeah,
And
she
my
tells him
dad
that
says
F
you're a
off.
joke, and I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah.
Well, your father is entitled to his opinion, and like all that. The girl tells him off. Then he goes into the grocery store, thinks this girl's just got a candy bar, like
Yeah.
says, "Go ahead and cut in front of me." But
What
she's got
she's
3 carts.
Oh, Charlie, I'm in a wicked rush. You know,
Yeah.
or something like
Do
that.
you mind if I cut in front of you? And
Right.
he's just thinking she's got a Butterfinger.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, kids, come on. And then like you said, 3 carts like pull up, and he's just like,
Yeah, I might snap if that happened.
yeah.
to me.
And then that wicked like drum solo song starts happening, and he starts twitching, and
Yes,
Yeah.
can
you
we
see
talk
the
about
transformation happen.
that? From a physical acting standpoint, there's many moments in this movie I could highlight, but this is one of them.
Yeah.
The camera is just set in one place, and it's just on him, and they just say go.
Yeah.
And he transforms
He does what he does best.
from Charlie into Hank on camera in the span of about 20 seconds
In a
Yes.
single take.
in a single take.
No editing, no nothing,
And
no
it's-
other. Yeah.
And by the time he's done, he looks like a different person.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He wakes up, and now he's changed to Hank, which is his alter ego.
And that's a great touch.
Yes.
He looks around like,
He's like, "Oh, I got a gun,"
what?
right?
Yeah.
He's like,
What's
"Cool."
going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts digging through her cart.
Pulls out the Vagiclean.
Yeah.
Vagiclean. Price check. Vagiclean, aisle 5. She's
Right.
baking a loaf of bread and it sounds like sourdough.
Right. So
Got a little extra cheese on the taco.
Got a little extra cheese on the taco.
Hank is okay with getting back at everybody that pushed over Charlie.
Yeah.
And so he does it by grabbing the Vagiclean out of this woman's cart and announcing it over the microphone
Right,
that they need a
right.
price check on Vagiclean.
Yeah.
It's $3.99, by the way.
And she's horrified. You just pulled that out of thin air. You didn't even turn your phone on. I don't want to know why you know how much Vagiclean is, but that's fine. He walks out. Now, Hank then, within the span of minutes, physically assaults a child,
Yeah. Water boards are in the fountain.
Well, that's not technically waterboarding.
sexually assaults a mother, a nursing mother.
Yes.
Hey, by the way,
Those just look like 2 Zeppelins in a heated race.
do you know that Jim Carrey actually sucked some milk out of that actress's
Yes. Are we going to talk about this?
Do we want to?
We can.
Why not?
Do we
All right,
have to?
so I'll set it up really
Well,
quick.
I mean, it does set up
When
a
they were-
great milk
when they're
mustache
at
joke.
when they're at the barber shop earlier, the guys were like, catcalling this girl. She didn't hear them, but she's outside.
Right,
and
the
she had a-
dirty old men at the barber shop
Yeah.
see the woman with the stroller, and
massive cleavage.
massive cleavage hanging out. Yeah.
Like, get a load of this.
And so
and they're acting
later,
all-
now Hank he's transformed to Hank. He walks past her and she's breastfeeding this child.
Yes.
And it cuts to
he
her
raises
face.
an eyebrow.
And
yeah.
she looks down and the baby has been pulled off of the breast. And instead it is Jim Carrey.
Yes.
And there was no way to fake this. He was really just going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they cut to, the next scene, he's got a milk mustache on his
And
face.
he's driving Dick's car down a hill and just smashes it through the barbershop, tosses Dick the keys and goes, there, I parked her for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then spits on a ticket, slaps it out, and says, by the way, you got a headlight out.
That's right. And so ultimately they figure out Charlie has advanced delusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage
That'll happen.
and put him
Completely fictional.
on medication. This is Robert Forrester. We kind of see him for the first time as the captain. And they put him on medication that he's got to take a pill every 6 hours or he feels funny, as he says.
Right.
And this is supposedly going to get a handle on things.
And that's just, like you said, that's even it basically just cuts to, like, it leaps and bounds through
All that stuff.
all that and just goes like, oh, well, by the way, you got this.
Now you got the pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just explains it.
Because we've got to get to Irene. I mean, we could be 40 minutes into the movie at this point. We got to get to the plot of
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of the beginning feels like it's like, okay, let's go. Let's get the story stuff out there.
Right.
And introduce Irene. She comes in. She was flagged on a hit and run and pulled into the Rhode Island State Police Office by the EPA, who was trying to track her down. And so they're saying you got to go back up to Messina, New York, to be. There's a summons for you for a
Yeah,
hit and run.
someone's going to play for a hit and run.
And she's just like,
Yep.
there is no hit and run. This is all bull crap.
Right.
She calls Dickie,
Yes.
my guy, Daniel Green, in a command performance.
Playing on the green.
Playing on the green.
Hey, Hollywood, turn your phone off.
Yeah.
And so Daniel Green from Hands of Steel, the robot, I think he's still a cyborg, answers the phone. He's like, Irene,
His acting was quite robotic.
I don't know what you're talking about. If you need help, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Okay? Tell me what's going on.
And she's going, I know you framed me, you son of a
Yeah.
gun.
Right.
Right. She hangs up on him. This is our first introduction to Dickie. And all that to say, Charlie, sorry. Charlie, now on medication, has to escort her back up to Messina, New York.
Because this makes a whole lot of sense.
On a motorcycle.
You mean, hey, you've got this girl you got to take to New York, give her to the schizo
Yeah.
that just had a psychotic episode?
Who's newly on psycho
Meds. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, when you say it like that, Ryan, it sounds crazy.
But they were giving him were giving her to a caring, loving man.
This is one of the funniest parts.
Whose heart's
when they're
been
like,
broken.
First, what you're going to do is you're going to go on your motorcycle with this prisoner up to basically Canada. And then afterwards, you're going to take a week of vacation because you need to get your head right.
Right.
Yeah.
So not that he would go on admin leave before that or anything, but
No,
you know.
before you go on leave for your
Before you
psychotic
go on
incident.
leave for your psychotic incident, we need you to do this very crucial mission
On a motorcycle.
on a motorcycle.
And then you're going to go on vacation on a motorcycle.
That's
Yes.
right.
Belongs to the state of Rhode Island.
All right, well, damn
Which
it, guys.
before this, I gotta say, one of my favorite acting moments was
Yes.
when Jim Carrey's choking down the medicine.
Yes.
And he's like, and the
Spitting water
water's
everywhere.
spitting everywhere. It was great.
That was right
In
as
the
Robert
background.
Forrester was telling Irene, we'll have one of our troopers escort you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it cuts to him looking like an idiot. Just, okay, this is
Exactly.
the guy? Fantastic.
We also, the first time we get introduced to Chris Cooper, so now we're back with Dickie sitting on a bench at his golf course. This is a really, really brief scene.
At the Cedar Creek Country Club?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Chris Cooper comes over and he's like, how much does she know, man, right?
Yeah.
For this plot that we
And now you know he's the bad guy.
for whatever this plot is.
We don't even know what happened, what the issue is, what their criminal organization does,
Nope.
any of that. In fact, we find out that Chris Cooper is a Messina cop, but
Yeah.
yet they own the EPA and it's this big conspiracy. He's like in this,
Messina's like 10,000 people.
that's what I'm
max.
saying. It's like this dumb fuck, excuse my language. I'm going to go back. It's like this little hole in the wall town in upstate
St.
New
Lawrence
York.
County.
Yeah.
It's actually in St. Lawrence County. Yeah.
But they're the masterminds of this massive statewide conspiracy.
Of something. I mean, you got the EPA in your pocket.
Okay.
Country club.
Whatever.
yeah.
Doesn't make a whole lot of
Maybe it
sense.
involves turf. I don't know.
And then he's like,
Turf wars.
Turf wars.
how did this girl get involved in this? Chris and Dickie's like, I hired her to be my golf course superintendent.
Yep.
And then one thing led after another.
Renee Zellweger is a golf course superintendent.
She had her master's degree in turf management.
No, she didn't.
No, that was a lie. We
Turns
find that out
she-
later.
She did not.
She was a model going up to upstate New York.
Who has a degree in turf management anyway?
Nobody.
It doesn't exist.
Somebody with the name
You
Green.
never know. It might.
Not 85-pound blonde.
It's got to be like Phoenix University online or something.
It could be.
All right, so they're on their way up there. Road
But
trip.
wait a second. I just thought of something.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think if you hired somebody to be your golf management, would that be a red flag? Because the red flag
She'd be
goes
in charge
inside
of red flags.
There you
I'm
go.
not going to
That's-
give him
go.
that. I'm not going to give him that.
Oh, come on. All right, fine.
Nope. Too much of a stretch.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
You were really going for the whole
Does
one there.
anyone,
Stretch on this.
has anyone in this room ever ridden a motorcycle before?
Yeah.
I've been on one.
Okay. The first scene of him
Never
driving
driven.
her in the motorcycle, there's about 1,000 bugs that
Yes.
end up in his face. It's like, as long as you don't mind a bug or two, you can't beat the open road.
Yeah.
After seeing that, I'll never drive in a motorcycle.
You know, he had a windscreen though, and it's going
It's
to block
still
a
got
lot
in
of it.
there, yeah.
The windscreen goes up to about his chest.
Yeah, but
Is that so my
details.
question is, does that actually happen?
I don't know.
You're the only one that's driven a motorcycle, so you have to
not,
be the
not a
one
long
to tell.
distance.
Oh, all right. Somebody
Especially
out there.
during
Those of you
whatever
that have
season he
biked
says.
across the country, have you ever biked through a wooded area in Georgia? I want to know if that's really like that, okay? Because that was disgusting.
It was
He's
quite.
spitting out bugs.
Classic.
Good stuff.
Classic.
Which he does that in a lot of his movies.
No, which is it's funny, but
I
I,
mean,
want
he
to know.
does it in Ace Ventura with the sunflower seeds.
Then we get a top 3 scene in the entire movie.
Are we talking about?
I'm talking about the cow.
Yes. Yes.
Renee Zellweger?
No.
Oh.
She's 85 pounds. We're talking about the cow.
and young.
Yeah, and looks good before she messed up her face.
And okay,
Plastic surgery is a rough thing.
Yes.
they pull up on. There's this cow just laying across the road.
Prized cow.
Yes.
Well, we find that out. Yeah,
Sure.
they just think it's a random cow.
Random cow that got hit by a trucker.
Oh, these damn truckers.
Yep.
You think they call somebody to clean this up? So, okay, my question is this: you're 2 people. One of you is again 85 pounds, and you decide that we need to move this cow off the road
Right.
ourselves. You don't call somebody, like, do what you said they should have done. Call somebody to come clean this up.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
No.
We're gonna move this 600-pound animal.
Especially after she's wanted from the EPA.
Right.
Yeah.
Standard operating procedure. I'll have my prisoner help me with something.
And Charlie grabs the tail and has her push from the other side, from the head to get it off. I'm like, okay, fine. That's
Well, you know what you call it when you get on the ground, when Charlie gets on the ground and lays next to the cow, right?
Kurt. I don't even want to know.
Ground chuck.
Okay.
Not even ground beef.
Sorry. I didn't mean to butcher that joke.
Oh. Did you know that the voice of the cow is Peter Farrelly?
Really?
The voice of the cow.
Yeah.
He doesn't even talk.
I never once heard the cow go, "Stop shooting me."
That was Peter Farrelly's cameo, was just doing the "Mrrr, mrrr."
Nice.
So you had cameos from both directors
right.
now.
I get, okay, the stupid thing, you want to move it, but here's now you try to push the thing and the cow is alive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just shoot it in the face?
Multiple times.
Yes.
Well, but not yet.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He just shoots it in
once.
the face.
And he feels real bad. He's like, I had to put it out of
Your
his misery,
suffering's
poor
over.
thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Put the cow out of
He
its
shoots
misery.
it with a 9
But
millimeter.
then when it's still alive, at that point, are you just like, okay, I'm pot committed? Like,
gotta kill it.
We've already gone down the road. We've already put a bullet in this thing. Now I have to kill the cow? Is that
I
the
gotta keep
mindset?
going with this. Yep. I got a job to do. I gotta.
And so he fires 4 more rounds off into this cow's head.
Yes.
Turns around, he goes, "Oh, can you believe that? It's still alive again."
You know why he was still alive?
4 more rounds
Because cows have 4 stomachs.
in their face. You say some of the dumbest shit sometimes.
Holy cow, that was bad.
Ultimately, he puts like 6 rounds in this cow's head. It's still alive. He then goes like
Holsters
he's
the weapon.
Like he's Chuck Liddell. He goes into a rear naked chokehold on this cow.
Yeah.
Sticks his finger in his nose.
And tries to just.
See, that was Peter Farrelly.
You hear the gurgling noise. You're like, okay, it's dead. It's dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll find
stands
out
up.
later if
We'll
it's dead or
find
not.
out
Well,
later.
then he pistol whip creams it.
They,
I forgot
they
about
really milked that scene.
You gotta steer clear of Mel's jokes.
All right, steer. Oh.
All right.
That's bullshit.
Oh man,
Don't do that. We gotta have an accurate count.
it's utterly worth it.
See,
Green takes them off. Take like 5 off.
Why is it? It's going up.
Okay, there we go. All right, so the EPA is going to question Irene. They've got her in this little cabin, and Agent Beauchene, played by Richard Jenkins. I love that guy.
yeah,
Great actor.
great actor.
And this other guy that no one knows.
But
is
this was
the
in
other-
his underused days.
Yes, this wasn't before. He actually became kind of a bigger name
He
after
did.
this.
He did.
And they're questioning her in this. Agent Beauchene and Agent will not be in this movie long. And there's a knock on the door. She's realizing there's this big criminal conspiracy around Dickie and all this stuff. And then a pizza kid shows up. Pizza kid gets knocked over because Chris Cooper in a ski mask is out
How'd
there.
you know?
Chris Cooper's got one of those faces.
I was gonna say, like, literally the mouth
Yeah.
was
Right.
It's Chris Cooper.
Come on. It's like when John Banks in Armed and Dangerous, the guy from Breaking Bad, Jonathan Banks,
Yeah.
had a ski mask on in Armed and Dangerous, and you're just like, it's so obviously Jonathan Banks.
Yeah.
Some people have those faces. You just can't.
Chris Cooper's one of
Doesn't
them.
matter. But very importantly, Agent Beauchene only gets knocked out.
Right.
And then he shoots the other EPA agent.
Yeah.
But Renee's able to get away by hiding in the bathroom, outsmarts Chris Cooper.
Yeah, makes it look like the window's open. Classic,
Right.
out the window, but she's still hiding in the whatever.
But is Beauchene actually knocked unconscious? Because wouldn't he have seen her
Leave.
come back out and leave? Did
Yeah.
he really knock out? Because we find out Beauchene's in cahoots with
Beauchene's in
Cooper.
it. Yeah,
Right.
So maybe after Cooper took off, Beauchene's just like, all right, well, my part's done, and he took off too.
She would have had to have run past him to get out of the cabin, though. Beauchene on the ground.
Wasn't
Unless
his
he
name
was
Gurky?
I'm saying that was
Cooper's? Yeah. Okay.
Lieutenant Gurky.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
I just didn't want to
I
say
was getting
Gurky for
lost.
2 hours, so I've just been saying
Gotcha.
Chris Cooper.
Oh, that's fine.
Anyway, whatever. She leaves and she runs back to the Chuck E. Cheese mini golf resort. First
Yes.
of all, the hell.
That would be amazing.
Is that a real thing? And my whole life, I never knew there was a Chuck E. Cheese resort.
I had no idea.
You see, I've only
Did anyone Google it? Is it real?
I don't know.
I've only been able to have the standard Chuck E. Cheese experience in like a regular Chuck E. Cheese building.
Person in a mouse suit.
I didn't
just
realize there was an entire damn resort.
get in and get out in
could be.
under an hour. Eat your pizza. Don't open your presents and get the hell out of here.
But you get to go back to your room, though.
Right.
That's
oh
what I
yeah,
saw.
that would be great.
They probably have better animatronics.
I was just gonna
Sure.
say it's probably like all inclusive.
It's like the Disney World of Chuck E. Cheese's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
And then you get to take all your presents to your room and open them there.
That's what I'm saying. man.
Everybody back to the room. Let's go.
Yeah.
They probably have that. Remember that one? The thing you get in was like a helicopter, and it would go up and it would go down at Chuck E. Cheese. No one ever rode the
No,
helicopter before.
I couldn't go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, guys.
I got to go to Showbiz Pizza.
Oh.
That was my.
That was the one that had the little Ferris wheel, like the tiny little one you could ride in
right.
Showbiz Pizza.
And I was
Good
like,
stuff.
oh, this is fun.
Irene sneaks into the hotel room. She finagled the key and gets into Charlie's room. And Charlie has a picture of Irene on his pillow
Yes.
and a lotion right next to that.
do you
and
think
then
he was doing with
a
that
bunch
picture?
of tissue papers on the nightstand next to the lotion. Although I think he was Bokeem Woodbining.
You too? Sure. Oh, he was woodbine then, huh?
Were those sad tissues or happy tissues?
We're happy.
Did you notice the watermelon in the scene?
Well, that was from a cut.
the smashed
scene.
watermelon.
Was from a cut.
I did see the seeds all over the pillow. I didn't quite understand.
They decided that was a bridge too far and did not want to include that. In the
They
movie.
decided because American Pie had just done it that they were going to cut the gag.
Right.
Oh.
But
That's why.
Yeah.
I
He
see.
didn't do things to the watermelon. Yeah.
right.
Oh.
But It is one of my favorite scenes in the movie because Renee comes in. She sees, before he's even awake, she sees her picture. She looks over, sees the lotion and the tissues, and wakes up. Charlie goes, "What the hell is going on?"
you doing?
And Jim's ability to look like he just woke up.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was going over your file and I was trying to find a loophole, and then he sees the lotion. Oh my gosh! Did your lips get as chapped as mine on the ride down? Squish, 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 all over his lips. The poor man is trying to do whatever in the moment.
Yes,
he's
to cover
caught.
it up.
He's caught, and
It's a prime cover up.
whatever he can do to cover for the fact that he's clearly woodbinded to her picture on his bed. And his go-to was that his lips were chapped. That's
And I love even when like she goes, "Yeah, the police are on their way. They're trying to kill me." And he stands up and he's only got the lotion on half of his lips. He didn't even do the full thing. He just tapped it on the one side. That's
it's
probably
good
where
stuff.
the bugs were at.
all right. So this genius Charlie is like, "All right, I'll help you," but he agrees to meet with Chris Cooper in the middle of a junkyard. Okay, a clandestine meeting in the middle of a junkyard was not going to set off any, again, red flag.
No, not at all.
No,
That happens all the time.
totally normal.
Yeah. Why not?
Cop wants to meet you in the middle of an abandoned junkyard.
Yeah, no reason.
No,
No reason.
that's right. So obviously Cooper tries to kill them immediately. He switches to Hank. Renee Zellweger knocks him over the head, and they're able to get away. But now Renee is introduced to Hank.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
Irene, I should say, is introduced to Hank.
Well, and that's when he throws the sand in her face.
Trying to throw it in his face.
Yeah, and misses. And his
narr-
fighting skills are fantastic.
This is the narrator does this thing again where Hank laid it all out for, and it's just like there's so many scenes in the movie where the narrator's just like, and then they explained everything that had happened up to this point.
Yeah,
Right.
So that we don't have
Yeah, exactly.
to. Right? And so that was the moment when this happened. And there's this great line. It's just because I rock doesn't mean I'm made of stone.
Yeah. I'm not here to just twist your niblets.
That's right. That's right. Why don't you go up that pole and take a big steamy piss on the power lines?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to twist your niblets.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I'm here. I'm not clearly the more capable one. I will be able to take care of you where Charlie was not able to. And so let's go. You're in good hands. And so
Let's go, Candy Pants.
she realizes that, okay, Charlie is a schizo.
Yeah.
I would know. He stays out of my business and stay out of his.
Right.
Well, a dissociative identity disorder sufferer,
Right. So
not a schizo.
not a schizo, but that's what they keep calling it. Well, it's not even a real disease what he has.
It is, but it's not.
Advanced illusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage is a real.
No, that's not a real disease.
Okay.
Dissociative identity disorder is a real disease. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
The old list.
Well, we'll see what DSM-6 says.
All right.
Exactly.
You know, we like to get in deep on the psychological stuff. On
Did
this
you
show.
know that the National Alliance on Mental Illness actually wrote 20th Century Fox a letter about this movie before it came out, and they said, "We don't appreciate how you're portraying this, and we would like Jim Carrey to explain the difference during press tours."
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did he?
No.
Okay. All right. So the three boys are back at the house. They're about to be picked up by the cops because they want some intel on, where his dad, where would he go? And there's another little hilarious scene where they talk about how crappy Stanford and Duke are.
Yes.
You only got a 1430 on your SAT.
You know I had the flu. How dare you say that? Right?
You're going to end up at Stanford with the Sling Babe move.
That's right.
Get that scholarship to Yale taken away, be stuck up there at Stanford. Like it's the worst place you could ever go to.
Right.
These guys
Just
get
back
picked
to
up.
their dynamic. Love it.
And they're told that their dad is like now wanted for murder. He killed somebody, and he's like, "Man, our daddy wouldn't hurt a fly." It's like, "Well, we just got word he put 6 bullets into a prize cow's head. Poor thing's lucky to be alive."
How did they know?
I don't know. How do they know it was him?
How do they know it was him?
There's no.
That's what I'm saying.
No
How
one was
did-
around. The cow identified him.
The cow identified.
There was a lineup.
Yep.
All right. Mrs. Cow, which one of these people did that to you?
She just shakes her head. None of them. They start going through pictures.
Yeah.
As soon as they turn the page to Charlie, cow starts peeing. We
Getting all
him, sir.
nervous.
We got him,
Getting
sir.
sad.
Peter Farrelly had a much bigger part. They must have cut it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He voiced it
voiced
for a
it.
much longer session.
Hank and Irene ultimately decide to ditch the car. They had stolen Agent Cooper's car while they were in the junkyard.
Not without getting supplies.
And this is how. See, I was just going to zoom right past that, but if you want to,
I was just saying they got supplies.
They did get some supplies.
because then they found the shovel in the because I think this is when they figure out that the cop was going to try and kill them.
the cop was going to. The supplies in the backseat were for the cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hank and Irene
Pretty
decide
standard.
to ditch the car, and what's interesting to me. Is this becoming a Daniel Green trope? Because the last movie we saw somebody push a car off a cliff was Daniel Green in Hands of Steel.
Wow.
To ditch his car.
Right.
And now we've got them pushing a car off of a cliff in a movie that Daniel Green is also in.
Do you think the Farrelly brothers were like, we need a way to get rid of the car? And Daniel Green's like, hey,
You could try this.
Hey, you ever see Hands
you
of
ever
Steel?
see Hands of Steel? We can just push it off a cliff.
They had to have seen
That'll
Hands of
make
Steel.
sense for me losing my wallet. That'll be great.
Perfect.
Way to tie it all in, Daniel Green.
Good job.
And this also is something that, out of the whole thing in the entire movie, the one thing I've adopted into my regular life, I do this all the time at youth group. We'll be doing a game with the students or whatever, and I'll go, on the count of 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do it all the time.
Awesome.
Came straight from this movie.
Wow.
As they're dumping this car off of the cliff.
So you think your youths get the reference?
No, I know they don't get the reference. That's
And
why
that's
it's
the best
safe
part.
for me to do
That's what the
it.
best part
They
is.
just think I'm crazy. Like, who does that on the count of 9?
And why 9? Yeah, why not 10? Just go one more. Yeah.
All right, and count really fast.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
All right, and so there's a second place in this movie. Does it Ben and Jerry World exist? Is this like Chuck E. Cheese, another theme park? Mm-hmm. Because they show up at Ben and Jerry World.
Oh yeah, the ice cream thing
And
going
there's
on.
like-
When she drop kicks him over the fence.
There's
yeah.
like mascots and booths and the whole thing.
Hank steals an ice cream cone from a little girl.
And
Right.
he doesn't have his wallet anymore, so they're trying to figure out how to get money. And there's this hilarious moment where he's like, all right, I know how we can get some money. You got to punch me.
She's like, what? I'm not going to punch you.
I'll flag down the big cheese, tell him I got rolled in the parking lot. He'll hush me with a couple of Benjamins.
I'm not going to punch you.
They don't need that kind of ink on Sugar Mountain. He says. This is his big idea.
Class.
And he starts ripping on her.
I mean, it could have worked.
They don't. What does he think? They don't need that kind of ink on Sugar Mountain. They're gonna pay off.
You love this movie, don't you?
This part is hilarious.
Absolutely.
He thought this through so hard.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
He's sold on it. Yeah.
Hank thought it through.
They don't need this kind of ink on Sugar Mountain. But you really, if you're gonna do that, I can't give one of those girly love taps. You really, the guy's got to look at my face.
And she's
be
like starting to
she
get
just
enraged and just
frickin'
kicks him.
drop kicks him, and
Drop
another
kicks him right
great
in. Yeah.
moment, physical comedy wise, of Carrey going over the hill and coming
Yeah.
back into frame.
Yeah, that's great. He goes over and then hops back up and
Yeah.
keeps going down. Yeah.
That's one of those where he
Fantastic.
insisted he did it himself, too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. There were 2 stunts that Jim Carrey insisted he'd do himself. That was one of them.
The problem is every time Hank gets hurt, it's Charlie that pays the price. They always cut from
Right.
like after he gets beat up by the baseball guys and he falls down the hill or he gets kicked in the nuts. It always cuts to
Cuts
now
back
it's
to Charlie now, like, oh,
Right.
man.
Charlie always pays the price for Hank.
This is the
Right.
squeaky nose joke
so,
now,
yes.
though, which is I love.
Cuts to them walking down a country road somewhere.
Yeah.
Country road, squeaky
me
nose.
Oh,
Hey,
nice.
there you go.
And yeah, every breath he's taking, you hear the squeaking noise.
Yeah. And he
And then he sees this train go by.
Yeah.
He has this brilliant idea. You think what I'm thinking? We got to jump on this train.
Yeah.
And so they run. He's like, no, you don't understand. Humans use only 10% of their potential. You got to dig down deep for that little something extra.
and
blows past
Irene
him.
just passes him. Yeah. And gets on the train.
No problem.
No, and then she's like, "Come on, you almost got me." And she's doing the exact
squeak.
same speech, and he's like, and you just hear,
And finally
he's like,
he goes,
"No,
get off.
get off! I can't get off!" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Jump!"
Makes her jump off the train after already getting on it. Says, that was wrong. Train's first place they're gonna look. Train's the first place they're gonna look. And ends up where they end up. They end up at Milky's Cafe.
Yes.
Is that really the... That's not
No,
the name.
it's not
No,
really
but
the
that's
name
what
of
we
it.
got to call it. There was
Yeah.
like no name on.
I didn't know if there was a name sign.
No.
That would have been classic.
So this is where we're introduced to what will become the final main character that's introduced in the movie.
Right.
Is their waiter comes up and first of all he's Charlie at first, and this kid staring him down with a milkshake.
Yeah.
And look at a little Foo Fighters comes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
He transforms into Hank.
Hank.
What are you
Almost
staring
has
at
a
for,
fight.
eyes?
I got no beef with you. It's between me and the kid.
Yeah.
Almost beats up this little kid. Finally, she comes back. She's like, oh, crap, Hank is here again. And the waiter walks up, and the waiter is this albino guy who's obviously just super pale white because he's albino. He's got the white hair,
Thick glasses.
the white beard, the thick glasses, the whole 9 yards. And he physically like jumps back when he sees him.
Yes.
He's just like, good God.
Oh, good God.
It's a giant Q-tip.
Yeah.
And
You scared me.
He calls him Milky. He's like, that just look a little pale. He goes, all this stuff, he ripping on the guy.
Yeah.
And when Milky comes back to the table and he finds out that he actually did offend him, Hank actually has a little bit of a breakdown. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
He realizes
He's upset.
that, and he kind of divulges his feelings about Layla leaving and all the stuff that he had not really let out before.
Well, yeah, because Irene says, just as much as she left Charlie, she left you too.
Yeah.
Right. We find like he was a bigger part of the personality pie back then, right?
Yeah.
And that it was he was a more well-rounded individual. It was both of them. But since he never stood up for himself, this other side of him just got suppressed.
Yeah. Got taken over, right?
And he says, you know what? I'm going to make it up to that sweet little circus geek in there.
Yes.
Goes in there to like make it up to Milky, okay? Now, another big jump forward in time
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some.
Yeah.
because Charlie wakes up. He's already had plastic surgery done.
Yeah, he's got a Band-Aid on his jaw.
He has
Bandage, yeah.
new friends traveling with him. They're on a ferry somewhere. Mm-hmm. We don't know how much time has passed. Enough time that he's gone and had surgery.
Yes.
And his nose has recovered.
And his nose is recovered.
yeah.
And so he wakes up and he's like touching his chin bandage. He's like, what is this? What is this? He's like, we had some plastic surgery, and he's pissed. I mean, of course he'd be pissed.
Hank wanted to do something special for you.
That's
You got
what it
your
was.
nose fixed, and he's like, because that's what he goes. Oh, my nose, I'm breathing fine, and it's fixed. And he goes, what's this? What's down here? And she's like, well, Hank thought it would be nice to do something. He's like, how do we get the money?
Yeah,
and
how'd you pay for it?
Yeah, and then Whitey comes in. Oh, hi, I borrowed him the money, and he's like, oh, holy hell, he does the same exact gag.
Yes. Now imagine how confused you would be if this was a condition that you had.
And you'd wake up.
You'd wake up and you would
It's like time traveling.
right,
Yeah.
and you just look back and there's just this albino guy
Joining the ride.
just in your back
and
seat.
you're in his car now. Yeah.
And someone just called, and he just goes, "It's me, Milky."
yeah.
How confused would you be?
Who's Milky?
That's right. He turns out, he's like, "Who's Milky? And what the hell is he doing here?" It's got to be so stinking confusing.
Every day is, dude, where's my car?
Every single day, or 51st dates, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Hey, that's a great movie.
I also, and think about Milky, okay? What's his life like? He just went with these two.
I mean, once again, there's no real explanation in the movie.
Why did he leave with them?
Why?
Why not?
Why?
Why did they leave with him, Brady?
No reason.
There you go.
Or like you said, how much time has passed?
We don't know.
Yeah.
It could be a month at this point that they've been on the lam. She still got the same outfit on
True.
for the entire movie.
And it never
45 minutes ish.
It never got dirty.
How long does it take to find a plastic surgeon, make the appointment, go to the consultation, get the surgery done?
And then for the bruising to clear up.
For the bruising
For
to
the
clear up on the
discoloration to finally clear up. We're talking
Right.
And meanwhile, these kids
6
are on a
weeks.
helicopter, aren't they? And they're or the cops are in a helicopter, and they're
Cops are.
supposed to land 15 minutes up the road to
Yep.
go to this restaurant.
Exactly.
So in the meantime, they're doing whatever they're doing for these 3 weeks that
They
they're
get
on the land.
lost in Canada.
Yeah.
It takes them 4 months to get back down. They're like, oh, crap, we missed him. So,
Ah, we missed it.
double back.
then to double back, they'll have beards.
They meet the cow, have a conversation with her.
That's right. They had to get the cow statement. They
Yeah.
had to Mirandize the cow.
Yeah.
Then they had to shave their beards off
Yeah.
because it had grown so
They had to
much.
shave their beards.
So
come
you know
back
that's
down.
going to take a hot minute after you
Right.
have it grow for a month.
Nobody wants to see all that.
The boys had done their first semester at Stanford already.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Shoe leather. That's all shoe leather going on there.
That's right.
It's too much. They cut it all out.
All
So
right.
wait, it kind of just turns into a Christopher Nolan movie.
It does.
Yeah.
We finally, this is kind of a hot, I mean, the reason we're bouncing a little bit here is this is kind of, the middle part of this movie is kind of a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
It's not until we get to the motel that we really stay on a straight line till the end here. And so this is when they get to the motel.
Yeah.
When I say they, I mean
Kind of a patchwork straight line, though.
Charlie, Hank, and Irene. Yes, that's true. Get to this motel, and Milky's there. And so we get Milky and
Paying for their rooms. Right?
Hank or bunking up because
Only 2 rooms left.
only 2 rooms left. Guess you guys are going to have to bunk up.
Oh, that's a trope.
And we find out that
Milky killed or something.
Charlie asks Milky, "Where's your family?"
Yeah, there's a great shot of them both in the same scene, laying side by side in the bed.
Like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, just both and there's a definite crease down the blanket.
Well, of course there is. You ever had to share a bed with somebody?
But I just think it's great to show all that, and then they're both laying there just.
It's just their heads peeking out of the covers.
So what happened to your family?
I killed them
I killed them. What?
with a hammer.
With a claw of a hammer. I just.
My sister was alive when I did it, which I regret.
Yeah. And you just see Charlie just like trembling, like, I need to
told him
get the hell out of here.
I told him I wasn't ready to leave, but I was 21, so they had to let me go.
It's a messed up law, huh?
It's a messed up law.
Well, we all got family stuff.
I'm thinking about making up.
I think I'm going to make out with what's her face. Yeah.
I'm going to go make out with,
He's like, yeah, go for it. Well, we find out that Milky was just scared.
Yeah.
Because we have a schizo who's wanted for murder, and he's in bed gabbing with you, so he freaked out and said, I just tell him I killed my whole family. So he goes over and he joins Irene, and he actually has a scene where Charlie is legitimately bonding with Irene over some pictures of his kids, and they're having
Yeah, the Oz photo.
kind of a moment.
As the Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
Great picture, by the way.
No.
And he has a moment where he could close the deal, but he kind of fumbles it in the moment because he's Charlie. And so he's, I'm going to go outside and get a Coke. Like,
Yeah.
they're about to kiss. And he's like, I'm going to go get a Coke.
Yeah.
So he goes outside, and the Coke machine eats his buddy twice. And of course, there just happens to be a guy loading his car up outside and starts laughing.
Why don't you kick it again?
Why don't you kick it again? Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So another guy that heckles Charlie.
Yeah.
And it goes this zoom in on Charlie, this like stepped zoom in.
Yeah, it was. It was a
To the like eyes tightening, basically. And but then when he comes back in, you think, oh, he's going to annihilate this guy. He's going to turn into Hank. But then he walks back into the room. He's like, I finally have control over this thing.
And he's got 2 Cokes in his hand. Yeah.
yeah.
And we find out it's Hank pretending to be Charlie.
Yes.
Just to sleep with Irene.
Just to get
I know.
Irene.
Yeah.
It's so skeezy.
It worked.
It worked. But it's also funny that that Hank knows Charlie so well, because they're the same person, that he can act like him no problem at all.
It was funny.
It was.
It was funny.
Well, we all got a little Hank in us.
So for sure. So did she. And so she's like, oh, look, I found this bottle of alcohol, the night before. He's like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, under the right circumstances, I could tip a few.
Yeah. So he opens up a Coke, starts pouring it. Yeah.
Off they go.
They have
Now
some rum and Coke.
it cuts to the next morning.
Yeah.
What happens in the bathroom?
He's peeing all over the ceiling. Well, first there's a great cutscene where it shows his butt in his underwear, and he's like,
and he reaches back.
like reaching back, and he's like, ow, oh, why's my butt hurt? And then he goes into the bathroom, and he's grabbing the pictures off the wall, trying to deflect.
Right, he tries to pee, and the urine stream starts going every which way.
Irene, why am I peeing like I had sex all night?
And so my wife goes, is that true? I'm like sitting there watching this with her, and I'm like,
Well, I mean, it's an exaggeration.
it's an exaggeration, sure, but I'm like, I don't want to explain this to you.
I've had to jump in the shower. Sure.
He's grabbing toilet paper rolls, whatever he can to block this
Just
stuff.
soak it in.
It
Jumps
comes up
into the shower curtain.
like almost backing up over his shoulder is how like
Yes.
misdirected the stream is. Right?
Absolutely.
That'll happen.
And so she figures out, she deduces that was Hank the night before
Yeah.
and not Charlie.
Right.
And she was tricked.
Correct.
So, yeah, he goes back outside and he goes, he's very upset. And he finds out that
He sits on the.
she sits on the rubber dong.
the rubber dong.
That's what we're going to call it?
The dong huffer.
The dong.
The rubber dong?
The rubber dong.
The
Rubber dong.
Yeah. This giant rubber dong that
The
Hank had
adult
bought
play
before,
thing?
The adult play toy.
adult play toy?
And so Charlie picks it up. He's like, oh, I guess old hanky panky wasn't enough for you, huh? Oh, did you have fun last night? Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
And he's doing a voice.
Yeah.
So technically he played 3 characters in this movie.
The voice of the dong.
He's voicing the rubber
Voicing
dong.
the dong as well. All right.
Yeah.
Add that to the resume.
And Renee lets him in on a little piece of information. That this is a downside to not remembering when you've switched personalities.
That wasn't for me.
That
It's
wasn't
like
for
that was for yourself.
That was for you.
And he throws it back over his shoulder.
And then cries into his hands immediately. Sorry.
And he goes and sits in the sink and splashes water into his anus.
Yeah. You all right in there? You all right in there, Charlie?
What's that gonna do?
It's comforting.
What it is? He just wanted to be sued.
You've never had a night like that?
I've never had to,
Where you've had to gently ice your ass
Listen,
with water?
If he had a bidet, he wouldn't have had. He made a makeshift bidet out of the sink. We talked about
right.
this
That's
in,
It works.
in Demolition Man. Right? Like he needed 3 seashells. That's
He
what
needed the 3 seashells.
That's what he needed for
Oh
sure.
man.
And yeah. All right, so we find out that the cops are now, as they're in this motel, showing up and amassing outside the hotel, thanks to Anna Kournikova and her super hot boyfriend.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Great appearance by her.
Just out of nowhere.
A random,
They always have a random athlete.
random Anna Kournikova appearance.
We find
She
out.
nailed it though.
This is what. No, I think he nailed it. I think that was the point. They were making the joke. What was the boyfriend's name again?
Cooter.
Cooter.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. We find out, this is when we find out that Beauchene is dirty. He's like, we'll just go in and we'll start shooting. And Beauchene's like, don't screw it up this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Dirty.
And you're like, oh, no.
And they're about to bust in the door, and they get called off on the radio by another cop saying, I got Charlie and the girl by me. The boys had kidnapped or handcuffed this other cop
Yes.
and made him call it off. So all of the cops leave the parking lot to
Yes,
go.
all of
and
them.
right as soon as the last car pulls out, Charlie walks out the door. If I didn't have bad luck, I had no luck at all. Right?
That's a perfect shot though. I love it.
For sure.
Yeah.
We find out the boys.
They bet each other.
First of all, who knows the diameter of a chicken egg? I don't care how smart you are.
I mean, they're really smart.
He goes, they're just gonna handcuff this cop and leave him there while they go steal the helicopter, because they understand how to fly a helicopter because they're smart. They built an airplane when they were little kids.
Yeah.
Right.
How hard can it be? It's just lift versus drag and rotation, I think is one
Mother
of the
effer.
lines.
Yeah.
The thing, right? Mm-hmm. And as they're about to go to the helicopter, the cop opens his stupid mouth and says, when I find your old man, I'm going to mess him up myself personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're like, nope.
Now, why'd you
not
got to
gonna
say
happen.
that, right?
Well, he had to save face.
He goes, Lee Harvey, what's the diameter of a chicken egg? It's like 1.6 centimeters, man. What the frick are you talking about? Like, he just knows it off the top of his head.
How much? And then they start making bets on if they can shove it up the cop's butt
Without it breaking.
without it breaking. Right.
Yep.
I say, I'll take that bet.
See, and I thought you said chicken head,
No.
which
Well,
leads to what ends up happening.
Well, it was a chicken egg, and then
They cracked it because he goes, you had 2 shots and you cracked 2.
Right.
And then that's when they cut to him strapped to the tree.
right, we find out there's a chicken with its head stuck up the guy's butt. And the guy goes, all right. He goes like, I'm paying, but it's under protest because it's a technicality. Like,
Yeah.
because they cut to them getting in
Right.
the helicopter. And
he's like, it's close enough, man,
Close
right?
enough.
And so they pay the money, and off they go in the helicopter, which the instructions are in German. He can read it, but he just can't. He can speak it, but he can't
That's a
read
great
it.
Yell at him in
joke,
German. Yeah.
And they're off to find their dad. Now, the train station, this is kind of where it all starts to go down. We see Charlie, they're at this first train station he's there with Irene, and he calls Finneran from the Rhode Island State Troopers, his own outfit, and says, meet us at this next train station with a bunch of troopers,
Not knowing that.
Finneran's going to
Yeah.
immediately tell on
Right.
him. Like, immediately. He hangs up the phone and calls Beauchene.
Right.
It's like, this is where they're going to be. He also professes his like, we'll call it that, to Irene. He's like, I like you. And a very appropriately titled Third Eye Blind song plays. Did you guys catch the joke?
No.
No, what is it?
He's hugging her, and he's like, after they have their little moment, where he's like, I really like you, and all that, and she hugs him, and he goes, my ass is really sore, right? As they're hugging. And then right after that, you hear, deep inside of you.
No, didn't catch it.
I did not.
It's literally
Awesome.
like right after
Awesome.
he says it. They're right into the
It's
Third
just
Eye
those
Blind
little
song.
things
I
in here
know.
that those Farley brothers put in there. You gotta
Perfect.
love.
Little things.
It's perfect.
The little things.
The little things.
So they go to the train station, and they get on the train, and Charlie now closes the deal. Even though she already slept with Hank, she sleeps with Charlie on the train.
Right.
And somehow, don't ask because it doesn't make any damn sense, Dickie is on the train.
Right.
Okay? Before they knew where they were, Dickie's on the train.
Why not?
Okay? Hands of steel. He goes up to a conductor. I thought he was going to do the backhand butterfly chop.
That would have been
As
awesome.
a conductor. But he didn't. He just asked, he's like, hey, I'm looking for a buddy of mine. He's a tall guy with a buzz cut. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah, right down there.
yeah, they're right there. They're
that
doing it in the next trailer right over here.
It's like jackpot.
He walks in there. Charlie's already in the bathroom getting cleaned up, so it's just Irene, and he's got the gun, and Hank comes out of the bathroom and shoves Hands of Steel
Yep.
into the window, which the gun then goes out the window and he drops
So
it.
that's why the hands broke the window.
Because
Right?
he's
The
got hands of steel. Otherwise, it would never have worked.
I was very confused.
I was a little disappointed no Ultimate Cyborg came in.
I am the ultimate cyborg. Oh, the Cartman lady. Oh, I forgot about that.
But I was a little disappointed that this guy's a cyborg and he gets knocked out by a rubber dong swung by an 85-pound girl.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Renee Zellweger, there's no way you're going to knock this man unconscious swinging a rubber dick
Takes me back.
to his head.
Takes me back to my college
Hey, you
days.
never know.
And it was one swing. She's just like
Yeah.
unconscious. Okay, sure, fine.
Well, you ever see Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels?
No, is there a
That
similar
got a
scene?
dong in there?
There is. There's literally a scene where a gangster kills a man with a 15-inch black rubber.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Kills him in the same way or hits him in one shot and knocks him unconscious?
I mean, beats him to death with a black rubber.
Okay. got
I
it.
thought maybe he shot it with like an elephant gun and it just went through him.
Oh, he's got a dong gun?
There's
shoots rubber
elephant
dogs.
guns in the movie.
Could you
It
imagine?
just self-loads.
Could you imagine? It had like one of those like a belt-fed dong gun.
You just see a dong belt around
And
his
they're
chest.
just flying out.
Just full of them.
Balls to the wall.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome.
I think it'd be a real dick move.
Charlie gets kicked in the nuts by, well, we think it's Hank still, but she kicks him in the nuts. It's Charlie. Regardless, we got to get off this sticking train, story-wise. The main takeaway is that it's starting to switch really frequently now.
Yeah.
Hank to Charlie. It's like Hank, Charlie, Hank,
Charlie, yeah.
And it's getting to the point where they're now talking to each other because
Yeah.
they're switching so fast.
Yes. Yes.
In the mirror, they're going to fight. She's like, stop, man. You're freaking me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get off the train, and Jim Carrey, now he did this in Liar Liar for a little scene where he beats himself up in the
Yeah. I'm
bathroom.
kicking my ass. Do you mind?
Right.
Yeah.
6'2", kind of gangly, and it's like, he's a madman, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not doing that movie right now. But
Nor
he
will
has
we ever.
another fight scene
Where he throws himself off the train.
against himself.
Yes.
And it's awesome
Yes.
It's amazing.
that he's able to do this.
You almost believe that there's somebody there
right.
beating him up, but then he's still physically beating himself up. And
That's what I'm saying. The way
It's
he's
crazy.
able to do it and make it seem like it's a real fight. I mean, any actor could sit there and punch themselves.
Sure.
But he's able to
He takes
do
it to a whole different level.
run at himself, turn around, mock himself while he's running backwards, back, tackled through the window.
How many takes? I
don't
just,
know.
it's got to be crazy. I would love to see the raw footage.
He throat chops himself.
So,
yes.
do you really want to know?
Yeah.
The scene when he's fighting himself in the car
Yeah.
and he throws himself out of the car?
Yeah.
One take.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
that's another. So he gets in the 66 Mustang, right, as he's trying to get away. Ends up running over Agent Cooper, Chris Cooper.
So the agents come in at this point,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then Richard Jenkins chases
Irene goes
Irene
back onto
on
the
the train, and Chris Cooper goes after
So they've
Carrey,
separated.
So they've
and Jim-
separated. And
so he drives the car and she gets back on the train. But yeah, he's taking the 66 Mustang. And even after he takes out Agent Gerke,
Yeah.
Chris Cooper,
Lieutenant Gerke.
he's still arguing with himself in the rearview mirror.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
grabs himself by the shirt and throws himself out of a moving car.
Yes.
And then runs back
In a
into
wide
it
shot.
as Hank.
In a wide
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then chases it down and jumps back in. But all this fighting of himself is just
Yeah.
it's
genius.
It's a testament to the man's physical ability because it's not. He makes it look easy, and I guarantee you, almost any other actor in Hollywood would have looked ridiculous trying to do what he did, and they would have had to have used doubles or something.
I don't think anyone has ever been able to come close to that.
No.
That level.
No,
I mean,
his physical just comedy.
the physical
and,
expression of
Right.
comedy, where
Yeah.
you have action stars like, we talk about Jackie Chan and them and how like their physical expressions of their craft are really spot on.
Right.
But that's in like those serious action movies. There is no other comedic actor that has a physical expression level of Jim Carrey. Never,
I'd
never
agree.
once.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Absolutely.
when's the next one going to be. I can't sit here and go, there never will be, because we don't know that.
Yeah, but
I mean,
no one has.
No one's come close in the last
Not yet.
Not yet.
20 years.
And to even think that his time as that particular persona was, really think about it, was only like 7 years,
Yeah.
because it was like from 94 to 2000 and
After the Grinch, he started
Yeah.
doing other kinds of things.
right, because then he did like Eternal Sunshine and Number
Right.
23.
Yes
and-
Man wasn't really a super physical thing.
No,
and then
no, it wasn't.
Couple of parts. But yeah.
maybe Bruce Almighty in 03.
Yeah, and that was about it. So that was like 9 years, and we had
Yeah, his was a lot of but a lot of what, well, and again, that's a different movie, but Bruce Almighty, a lot of that was his elegance of it. So it wasn't him beating himself up, and the acting came from that. It was more of him
Okay, I agree with you.
being elegant and like when he comes out of his clothes.
Yes,
and
but
things
even
like
the
that.
physical. So even the scene where he's dressed up like, why can't I'm blanking on the name of the famous Mark Twain? He's dressed up like Mark
Yes.
Twain at the chili cook-off,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he chases the asteroid down as it's
Yeah,
coming down.
you're right.
And like, let's
That's
just
good.
certainly spice things up a bit. And he's yelling back at
Yeah.
the TV, you know what I mean, or the camera and all that. I mean, it's all
No, that's a good
fantastic.
one
Right.
too. Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right, but back to this.
Yeah.
They split up. He's taken off. Now Beauchene, Irene evades Beauchene on the train, but ultimately gets re-kidnapped by Dickie, who kills a police officer and gets his gun.
Yes.
And he's now dragging her off away from the train across some like derelict electricity bridge. What is this thing?
I don't even know what that was.
No idea.
What's it for?
It's a set piece.
Why is it there?
It's just there.
What are we carrying across the
But it
river at
was
this
because
point?
it's like it's not a full bridge,
Right.
But it's meant for maybe like a utility worker to harness up to and like maybe
Something.
traverse to mess with a pipe.
There were some tubes
There's a
underneath
bunch
it.
of
There were some
tubes under
wires over it.
and
so-
clearly the water underneath is really shallow.
Yes.
Yes. But he's dragging
But
her.
only for women.
What's funny is Daniel Green, this big
Right.
tough guy, hands of steel guy, is having a real hard time dragging this 85-pound woman over this bridge.
Yes.
Okay, like a real hard
Hey,
time.
Renee is a scrappy woman.
No, I'm clearly.
Scrappy. Yeah.
So Charlie sees Daniel dragging her from far away, goes to get her. Finneran tries to stop him.
Right.
And he punches Finneran in the face. The first time Charlie stood up for himself
Yes.
in a while.
And then he's like, that was really me. Yeah.
It's a big deal. The guy had a glass jaw, and they're still arguing with each other,
Yes.
Hank and Charlie.
Yeah.
They argue with each other all the way till Charlie gets to the edge of the bridge where Irene is being dragged across.
Right.
And there's this fear of water, which I don't think they established well enough.
No, they didn't.
not
in
at
the
all.
movie. They tried. They mentioned
agree.
it.
Yeah, they did.
and then I'm
That
like,
was the
wait,
thing
what?
that was another part of the screenplay that just seemed okay.
They just said it in the beginning. He lives on the water,
Right. The
but doesn't
narrator
swim.
The narrator says it in
Yeah.
the beginning.
That'll be important later.
But you
Yeah.
can't.
Exactly.
They don't
but
even
that's
really.
all they ever said.
But it wasn't
establish it.
important. Right.
And so Hank, this is the
That
last time we
narrator's
see
a
Hank.
liar.
Yeah, no, for real. Leave the light on for me, my ass.
Well, he did. That's why he was sore.
I'm gonna get there and it's gonna be dark.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Dark
Motel 6 guy.
Tom Bowden. I can't believe you remembered his name.
Yeah, of course.
That's so.
So this is the last time we see Hank in the whole movie. Hank's like, oh, she's pretty much screwed. Come on, I'll buy you a beer.
Yeah.
And goes to leave, and he's like, no, if you're gonna back down from something important as
Again,
this,
another physical great gag where he's
His
pulling
leg
his
won't move.
leg.
His
and he
own
won't
leg,
move.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
his
and
leg
he's
is stuck.
fighting to
Yep.
pull his own
Right.
leg. And it's believable.
it is believable.
Very believable.
He says, I don't need you anymore. If you're too afraid to, if you're gonna back down from this, I don't need you. I'm calling the shots from now on. You're nothing at all. And he screams, and his leg goes,
Yeah.
and that's flat. He's now the well-rounded individual again, and he's
He regained everything. He's,
yes. So it's
he's
like
Charlie
all back to
and Hank. Yeah.
together.
Charlie Bailey Gates took back his life.
That took back his life.
Yeah.
He gets, and you think there's going to be this big triumphant moment. He catches up to Daniel Green at the middle of this bridge, and Daniel, hands of steel guy's got the gun pointed right at him. He's like, "Hey, come on, man. Hey,
He's just-
hey. Let me just reason with you. Give me the gun, man.
Just give me the gun.
He just
Sorry.
puts his thumb.
Right over.
First of all, boom. Why'd you put your thumb over the barrel of a gun?
Well, why would you even touch it? It would get hot.
Well, that's true. Why grab the barrel? But he puts his thumb right over the
Muzzle.
muzzle. Is that the right word? The barrel.
Yes. Barrel, muzzle.
On the barrel and over the barrel. That's why I wasn't sure if that's how that worked. But still, he puts his thumb over the end of the gun, the business end of it.
Yes.
It doesn't work, kids.
As we see.
Now, you can push on it. If you push on it hard enough, you
Yeah.
can pull it out of battery and then
Okay.
it won't fire.
Right.
But you got to like push against it. So
Not what he
slide.
did.
No,
No.
he did.
That's just the cap and go, like Ernest did, and Ernest goes to camp and go boink and just
Right.
plug the
Just
gun.
stick your finger in there. Yeah.
Well, what happened and didn't happen in Ernest
Yeah. No.
happened. And Brady, you made an excellent point to me when we talked about this the other day. That this was really a brave thing for them to do.
Yeah, I mean, so people watching movies now, there's always some sort of scene like this where it's just like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it in this movie. Like, it serves no purpose. But this was shocking when this movie came out. You guys remember? We were just like,
Yes.
everybody was like,
The good guys didn't get their thumbs shot
No.
off.
Yeah.
right. It was just like came out of nowhere. Nobody was
Yeah. No one was
expecting it.
expecting it. Yeah.
And so this became like kind of a trope like for the next 10 years or something.
Yes.
This established it, huh?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
well, at
I
least for
believe it
us.
was
I
this
mean, it was our frame of reference. We might have missed something that came before, but yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. That it was. And Carrie's reaction,
Yeah.
okay, the double scream. He has the first scream where they zoom in on his tonsils.
Yeah.
And then he pulls his hand back and he looks at his missing thumb. And then he grabs it and screams again.
Yes.
Yep.
Can you imagine being the director of a Jim Carrey movie like this and ever going to him and just being like, Jim, can we just do it bigger?
Yeah. Can we get you like a 21 out of 11? Is that possible?
Right.
I like how you played the scene. You know, you got your thumb shut off. But imagine like if you got your thumb shot off and
We zoomed in on your tonsils.
and
By
the
a
bullet
bear.
and the bullet came out your anus or something. Like that's what we want from you.
Traveled down
We
to
try-
the arm.
we traveled down through the arm and came out your butthole. There is no 10. There is no 11. He's just at 12.
All the time.
All the time? Yeah.
I doubt they had to make him do that again. I bet that was right off the bat. He just went because actors tend to like, you have to kind of get them up, right? They tend to underplay things until you get them to come up to a level
To where
that
you
want
need
at,
them to
where you
be,
need
right.
them to be. You know, you got to
yeah.
get them up there.
That's the victimization of rehearsal.
Right. But I got to believe, and I've never been on set, so I don't know. This is a total speculation on my point, that Jim Carrey on a scene like this just frickin' goes for it. Full send on the first take.
You think maybe they told him to tone it down?
Well, and how
if
many
anything,
comedies
maybe-
has he been in by this point? You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, I think he knows what he's doing.
And it's very
yeah.
similar to that take he had in Ace Ventura when Nature Calls when he got the spears in his legs. And he did the separate screams for each one, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's in the bone.
And so he did the double scream. Oh, it's so great. And then Dickie catches a lawn dart in the back.
Yes,
from
out of
Milky.
nowhere. And then they zoom
Milky's back.
in. Yeah.
Because they had abandoned Milky at the motel.
That's right.
Yes.
Rock. He's like, yeah, bad things happen. We shouldn't leave him here. Well, bad things happen to people who kill their family with a hammer. And he comes back. He's still, because he's a loyal friend, he doesn't care they abandoned him. He lawn darts him right in the back.
Yeah.
Brings
Remember how
that back
fun
around.
they were?
Lawn darts
Lawn
are
darts are
great.
great.
They were awesome.
And you could freaking launch those things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even complaining about the reality of that.
No, and we used to throw them straight up and then see who would wait the longest and then try and get out of the way.
Or get the frick out of the way.
Oh yeah.
That sounds great.
We were so
That was
dumb.
good fun.
I never played that.
So Dickie falls dead because cyborgs can't swim; they just sink. And Renee also kind of gets pulled off as Dickie falls into the water.
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
cracks her dome on a rock
That happens when you're 85 pounds and hit the water.
Right.
under the. How far? That's got to be the super shallow
I mean,
water.
that looked like maybe 2 feet.
So then, why doesn't Jim Carrey? He does a freaking swan dive.
Yes.
It's supposed to be this big victorious moment. He's
It is.
overcome his fear.
Right.
It
Which
doesn't
his
really
thumb
hit.
reappears.
It
Right.
doesn't really hit because, again, wasn't really established the fear of water.
Yeah.
But he's full on belly flop dives, but they don't show him cracking his face on
No.
the floor.
No. His head's above the water. He's just swimming
They just
down on
cut
it.
to
Yeah.
cut to rapids
Rapids.
going
Yeah.
down.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I thought you had your hand up. So ultimately, he catches up to Renee Zellweger. He pulls her out of the water. Then he goes under. She saves him. And the 3 boys show up in the helicopter,
Yep.
lower down the lifeline, pull them out of the river, and the day is saved. So congratulations. There's a little bit of an epilogue here. Movie's almost over. The narrator comes back out of nowhere.
Yep.
Well, That's what makes him omnipresent.
And it was such an annoying moment because they've got the police cars around. They're all getting, he's getting his hand bandaged up.
Yep.
How's my thumb, doctor? I'll tell you when I find it or whatever.
Yeah,
he says.
Yeah.
He's getting wrapped up, and then Robert Forster comes over, which I think he was very underused in this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Most actors were underused.
Great actor. He shows back up, and he opens his mouth like he's going to tell them, but it's the narrator. Well, the captain told them all that the bad guys have been rounded up. And Robert Forster's mouth is just moving.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want Robert Forster to explain it to me.
Let Robert Forster do the exposition.
Not this guy.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there looking like an idiot, just talking, and then there's voiceover. That was one of the most terrible uses of the
Stylistic
narrator
choices
of all time. Let Robert Forster talk. Anyway, Charlie...
James wrapped up the episode. Then they gave awards.
That's right. He goes over he makes up with Milky by a squad car, and he goes, "Oh, looks like your bandage is about to come off." So he takes it off, and we see the chin finally.
Yeah,
Finally.
the cleft chin.
Yes,
the buck chin.
It's like it's like
Damn, Daddy, look like you got an ass hanging off your face.
The Kirk Douglas.
I don't know who wants
Kirk
this.
Douglas.
Why would somebody want this?
Mel, you do have a butthole on your face.
I do have the butt chin.
I don't know whether you're wiping your nose when you sneeze or taking a shit.
Look, guys, Mel got a damn butthole on his face. Isn't that what he says?
Yeah.
I was
Damn,
greatly
Daddy,
offended at this point in the movie.
He was doing good up
Mel
until this.
spiked his
That's
remote.
what did it
This
for
movie
you.
is BS. I forgot about this. I
You're
blocked
gonna
it all.
expect a tersely worded review at the end of this episode. He's going to light this movie on fire because of the butthole chin comments. So then Irene, we find out, has to go back to New York. They're in Rhode Island. So we have this scene in front of Charlie's house where she's like...
Him and all the rest of the Dudley Do-Rights are there.
He's like, well, at this point, it's just the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie says, maybe you could come back and visit us sometime. Don't be a stranger down here. And then finally he goes, actually, maybe I'll come visit you. And she says, you promise? And there's like this moment.
Yeah.
But they don't kiss or anything. And off she drives to go back to New York. And then when she gets down the road,
She's pissed.
the Rhode Island State Troopers have blocked off the entire street.
Yeah.
The entire department.
The entire department.
all
Blocked off
18
the
of them.
street.
They have nothing else to do. Yeah.
The whole street. Literally, the bank is getting robbed right now. It doesn't nobody cares.
Where's the Mounties? They're gone.
They've got they pull over her car. Like, we've got a reason to believe this is a stolen vehicle. She's like, no, not again. This is bull crap. I rented this car. They pull her out for the pat down, everything. Robert Forster starts to pat her down, but then trades out with Charlie, who flips her around and says, I was hoping you would stay here. And he goes, look, and there's the plane flying by with his sons dragging
And
us.
the sons are flying the
Will
plane.
you marry me, bitch?
That's what the sign says. She goes, oh, Charlie. Milky goes, it's going to be raining wine and roses tonight, guys.
You think they saw it?
It's going to be raining my MF and cookies in here if you don't stop this turbulence crap.
Yeah.
And it's a sweet end to the movie. And man, I do want to say this before we wrap up on the film, before we get to the awards, because I haven't really got a chance to say this. One of the best parts about this movie is the soundtrack.
Oh,
Yes.
This movie,
Yeah.
the
Foo Fighters and
the Fairley Brothers have always been really great at
Picking music. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff in this. And so I think it's Ben Ellis is the guy's name. The World Ain't Slowing Down. They used it a couple times. They used it at the end here, and then when their road trip started, right before they got up to the cow. And there's just great music throughout this whole movie. But that is essentially Me, Myself, and Irene.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that before or after they go back to the river to look for the thumb?
Daniel Green's bloated carcass is still floating down the river somewhere.
Probably
They
should
never,
be, right?
They never really fished that out either, did
Oh
they?
man, they could have made a sequel. He could have rose from the,
Right at the end, they have him
Yeah.
coming out of the river.
and they could have revealed that he was a
With the
cyborg.
Terminator face?
Yes, with the Terminator face.
He'd have the
off.
thumb in his
Yeah.
fingers.
We find out that Me, Myself, and Irene is actually Hands of Steel 2.
Nice.
Oh,
Come on.
or a prequel.
Come on, the Farrah Farla brother. How much money you want to make, Peter and Bob?
Yep.
Call us. All right.
We got ideas.
Don't call us. Send us an email.
how about we give this movie some awards, y'all?
Yeah, let's do
We
it.
could try.
All right.
I mean, that's what we're here for.
We could try.
The awards.
We are going to start, as we always do, with the award that you want to win. The actor that gave the most intense performance, regardless of how stupid their part was, it's the Will Patton Award
Yeah.
for intensity.
You want a war? I'll give you a war!
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You bitch! all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm gonna take every last one of you out. You make sure that they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
That's right. And I'll remember forever the day that I saw Will Patton give that speech in a movie theater when I watched Remember the Titans. Man, such intensity. When he walks out to that field and he grabs the ref after they were calling all those holding penalties and stuff.
He tells them to bitch all night.
Right. And he goes, no, blitz. All night.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I've never seen the movie.
I stared into his eyes.
And that was it.
That was a little too intense for me.
And he was catatonic for 4 days after that.
I remember.
It was like staring into the deadlights with Pennywise.
Awesome.
He was just like, "Argh." All right.
That's the effect that Will Patton has.
It is.
Mel,
Nice.
we'll start with you. Who's your nomination for the Will Patton Award for intensity?
The Will Patton Award for intensity. I went with Hank.
With Will.
With Hank.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey as Hank, though.
Specifically as Hank.
Specifically as Hank.
Specifically
Okay,
Hank.
that's fine. That's a good nomination. Kurt, I think if you gave me 3 guesses, I'd only need 1. But who is your nomination for the Will Patton
Okay.
Award for intensity?
That was almost a.
I also went with
gonna
Jim
give
Carrey as Hank.
Nice. Ryan?
I'm going to give you 2 guesses, but you only need 1.
Okay.
That's the line.
What is it a line? I wasn't doing a line.
It's a Will Patton line.
Is it?
It is.
From when?
Armageddon.
Does he say that in Armageddon?
Literally. I'm going to give you 2 guesses, but you only need 1. And then
There you go.
Bruce Willis throws the golf club and says, God damn it, AJ.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, when Ben in the beginning,
In the beginning, Armageddon.
when
you
they're sleeping with her on the
So
oil
you just
drill.
like subconsciously quoted Will Patton during the
Even
Will
know.
Patton Award
It
ceremony.
runs through your blood.
Wow.
It's just ingrained. We've
That's
fused
amazing.
the symbiosis now. We've just fused
It
into
is.
one.
That
You're
was
like
intense.
Venom.
Yeah.
All right, who you got?
Jim Carrey as Hank.
Yeah, you're damn right. That's right. It's Jim Carrey. That's who I have all of them. Brady, who you got over there?
I mean, just to be different, I think I'm going to have to go with the kids. They were
Why did you even?
Who invited him?
What
the hell's the matter with you?
Kids table. Come on, guys.
Oh, I get it.
All right, you get some applause. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Can
I
we,
didn't think.
can we
you were
ground
thinking-
him?
No, he was thinking like fourth dimensionally there, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Fourth wall break.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what the patrons had to say. Right now, we got 4 votes for Jim Carrey and 1 vote for the kids. We got, for the first time ever joining us, Matt Mariner joining us today.
all right.
Hi, Matt.
The alliteration on the name sounds like a comic book character.
Yeah.
Matt Mariner.
He also isn't that the Submariner.
He went with Anthony Anderson, which I'll count as a second vote for what you said over there.
Yeah.
He said the way he screams at his brother for not knowing how to fly a helicopter and sucking at particle physics is what I remember most fondly about this movie. So.
It's true though.
It's
No,
great.
it's great.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Enrico Fermi would be so upset with him right now.
It's
Roll over in his grave.
That's right. All right.
Just when he blasts out in German, like that's literally
It's a Gates and Eden. Yeah. I got you.
Jawohl.
We got Charlie Francois joining us back again.
Charlie Francois.
And Charlie says Jim Carrey as Charlie Baileygate / Hank Evans.
Nice.
Nice pick, Frenchie.
He said it's the easy choice, but he really went 110% like he always does. His act may have been well known by the time this came out.
Sure.
But he still gives a mad performance in this one.
100%.
Mad performance. And so a special mention to Tony Cox, the limo driver,
Yes.
Shantae Jackson. He set the tone for this irreverent comedy in the first few minutes, and I had never seen this movie before, but I sure as hell wasn't expecting a nunchuck wielding little black playboy to kick it off. So Charlie saw this for the first time doing this one.
Awesome.
with us,
Hey,
so.
Great.
I think we all overlooked that one.
Yeah, he's great for sure.
no. No.
See, and I just
Overlooked
overlooked the joke about overlooking.
Pun it.
Got it. And finally, you know it's a special episode. We've got Mark the Goose Gussick jumping
the
in here.
Goose.
And he says, who is ultimately going to win the award, Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says it's got to be this man. He played 2 characters in this movie convincingly and intensely. I'd say even Charlie, and I'll agree with you, Mark, here. I think even Charlie's performance was intense.
Oh, yeah.
In the moments when he's like on the edge of tears, like with the keys, and he's like, why would I take a vacation? You know, men leave their wives every day in this country, and
Yeah.
it's not like I had the flu, and he almost cries. It's all good stuff.
Everything.
Mark goes, I haven't seen this one in a while, but it still brings it. He still brings it on both sides of the coin. So Mark with Jim Carrey. So ultimately, Jim Carrey wins the Will Patton Award.
Well done. Well
for
done.
intensity. And I wouldn't say that that's something that he would win for most of his movies. I wouldn't necessarily say a lot of his stuff was intense performances, but I think this one definitely was.
It really does.
For
He's
sure.
pretty intense in Ace Ventura.
Intensity. I don't know
Absolutely.
if in Ace Ventura, I think I would go with what's that guy's name that plays the frickin'
Einhorn?
No. Plays the guy with the dog in the beginning of the movie. He's also in Ernest Goes to Jail, and he's
the big guy with the mustache.
he's always in all those
He's
movies.
like, "Can I pet your dog, sir?" Well, I don't give a rat's ass.
or Mrs. Finkel.
Oh,
Yes.
Mrs. Finkel, definitely Mrs. Finkel.
Mrs. Finkel.
Lace us out.
All right. So perfect. We're now moving on to the Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt Award. This is the award that you want to avoid winning if you can, because it means you had the acting range of a trash can full of dirt. And that's basically the opposite of what Jim Carrey was doing here. He showed great range. Who was on the opposite end of the spectrum from Jim Carrey?
I can't even imagine who's going to win this one.
Oh,
Let's hear what you have to say, Mel.
Anna Kournikova.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean,
One line of dialogue.
one line and she
And she
just
wins the award.
she won.
I would never argue with that pick. That was a great pick. Great pick. Kurt?
I went with Daniel Green.
Daniel Green.
He's got hands of steel, though.
I know, but he was so boring in this movie.
The EPA. I
mean-
thought they were in our pocket.
Yeah. I hired her for my greenskeeper. Yeah, I just. Wah, wah.
He didn't even say anything at the end of the movie. They didn't even give him any dialogue. The whole final showdown.
Yeah, they just drowned him.
He just. All right. I'm going Daniel Green, too. I mean, come on.
do it. Thank
I
you.
love Daniel Green.
Yeah, he's
a terrible
hands of steel. He's awful.
Terrible actor.
Part of his charm. I feel like it's part of his charm.
Part of his charm.
I think back to Hands of Steel when he's like, now everyone will know Raul Morales is the strongest, right? And he just cuts to Daniel Green and goes, "You're a loser."
His performance, he was very robotic.
It's just his face.
It's his face.
It's just his face, guys. He doesn't mean to do it.
They were looking at somebody and they're like, "We need somebody that can be a robot."
Is this going to be a third
Yeah,
vote?
absolutely.
For Daniel Green.
Daniel Green. Literally.
All right, Brady, over to the kids' table.
I'm going to go with Cam Neely.
Cam, he was in there for a second,
Hey.
too.
I haven't mentioned him at all. So
Seabass.
Yep.
I should have
Seabass
mentioned.
from Dumb and Dumber.
Should have mentioned it during the epilogue. Yeah, a cop walks past him and he's, I don't remember what he says to him. Something like,
yeah. Thanks, Seabass.
the car's parked over here or whatever. He
Yeah,
just goes, thanks, Seabass. It's a little cameo
Right.
for Seabass. Was
Right,
in there.
right.
Yeah.
He's done that like 5 or 6 times, hasn't he?
Yes, I think. All right, let's see what the patrons had to say. Right now, we got 3 votes for Daniel Green. But Matt Mariner comes in and says, I know that I'm going to get so much guff for this, but this has to go to Jim Carrey.
Shut up.
Not kidding.
Let me read this.
Hold on.
Is there
Hold on.
Why? Why?
I'm not joking.
Does he give an answer?
Yeah, yes, he does. He goes, especially as Hank. It just feels half-baked and regurgitated, and it doesn't age well for me. That's what he had to say.
Wait, so he's comparing Hank to Dudikoff,
He's saying that he was the worst actor in the movie.
but he wasn't. He's wrong.
He's 100% wrong.
I don't care if it's subjective. He's wrong.
At
But
least
this
he
guy's
acknowledged-
wrong.
At
This
least
guy is
acknowledge
just
that he
wrong.
knows he's going to get a bunch
They
of
didn't
crap
like
for
this
it.
movie, though, right?
I don't know. We haven't got there
what?
yet, but
All right.
To be fair to Matt.
To be fair.
to be fair,
I will say, like, maybe it doesn't age well.
no, I think it's the weaker of the two performances
Yeah.
between Hank and Charlie. Charlie was more like a real person.
Well, I think the whole thing.
Hank is like, I'm just going to do this voice now.
Yeah, the Clint Eastwood.
Right.
There's like the perception of it where you say that this is Jim Carrey's 7th time going down this road of this ridiculous 110% performance.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe at this point he was sick of it. Who knows?
He was basically doing a Batman voice
right.
as this other character. And so Hank seemed more, and I gave him my will pat, and I think he did a great
Yes.
job. But Hank did seem more like Jim Carrey pretending to be a character than Charlie seemed like a real person.
Right.
Well, I felt it was supposed to be that way, I guess. That's my take on it. Because I felt it was the subconscious.
Yeah.
So it's all made up anyway. So the whole character was supposed to be goofy and over the top.
Exactly.
Because that was the moment when he wasn't him anymore.
Yeah. Well, Matt Mariner thinks it sucked balls.
Well, I still like Matt Mariner, but he can go suck balls. No, that's not fair. I'm just joking.
Even sucking balls
But
requires some
seriously.
passion. I don't think a trash can full of dirt.
Let's move on to Charlie Francois. Charlie went with Rex Allen Jr. as the narrator.
Oh, there we go. That goes to what you were talking about. There
He
you
was
go.
nothing more than an exposition device.
A little bit of a justification there.
He
You
spoke
mean,
to us.
wait, you mean what a narrator is?
Yes, well, that's true.
It's technically not.
You
his
did
fault.
your job. You suck.
That's what he was hired for.
Rex right now is sitting home going, "What the hell? I just read the paper. He told me what to say. And I said I
did the
you know what?
thing.
We'll
I
do
did
it
the
live. Next time, do it live, Rex. All right.
Right.
He is in no way attached to the plot. By the middle of the, I expect him now to say he was a disembodied voice. He wasn't even there.
Awesome.
No, Charlie, here's the thing. I agree with you, buddy. By the middle of the movie, without the need for exposition, the narrator disappears, only to come back for the close. The movie hardly made sense at times, but the voiceover was just out of context. He acknowledges this may be a case of blame the writers. So I think, more than if you didn't like the narrator, which I didn't either, I thought it was poorly used. I think it's more of like we give this trash can nomination to the writers, which are the directors, than it is to Rex Allen Jr., who just showed up and read a piece of paper.
Well,
Right?
yeah. So we could
For sure. But I don't disagree with you, Charlie. All right, last one from Mark Gussick says,
Yeah,
his
what's the
award
goose say?
for the American Ninja 4 trash can full of dirt. Yes. I did rename it after that entire cast of that movie. You'll soon understand why,
Oh boy.
because that's coming up soon. Daniel Green as Dickie Thurman.
Thank
There
you.
it is.
This man can't even pretend to answer a fake phone call.
Oh, it's true. It is so true.
Oh, that's such a great take.
That's a great point. Absolutely. But Jim Carrey can pretend to be two guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could pretend to have a whole nother personality.
They're on the same level.
And talk to him.
He said the rest was just more trash piled on top of more trash. He sucked, 2 exclamation points.
Nice.
So Daniel Green's going to take it home.
Yes.
The winner of the Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt Award. All right, so it's time for top 3 performances. These are totally subjective. This is apart from any kind of, I mean, it could have been a bad performance. It could have been a good, whatever. Just whatever the 3 performances were that you enjoyed the most. And, for the first time in a while, I'm going to go first.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh.
Number 3,
Okay.
Daniel Green. Who sucked so hard. I loved every second that he was on the screen. I was
But
like, this
did
is
you
great.
because you saw Hands of Steel?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm like, oh, this.
But if you didn't see
Did you
Hands
love
of
this
Steel,
performance 20 years ago?
No, I hated it. But now I love it. You see what's amazing about movies? They can change over time.
wow.
It is
Right?
true, though.
And then I went with the Sons. I gave all 3 of them one spot at number 2.
Fantastic.
And then Jim Carrey at number 1. Come
Very,
on.
very
you go.
good.
Mel,
Very
how
good.
about for you, bud?
I went with Cooter for number 3 because he was.
All he did was go. That
Yep.
was it, right?
You know why? He was pulling Anna Kournikova. Whatever he's doing, his performance is top notch.
Top notch.
I went with the Suns for number 2.
Okay.
They brought it.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're awesome. That was a great group. And then number 1, I had to give it to Jim Carrey.
There you go.
There you go.
For sure.
There you go.
Love it. Kurt, you're up.
So I just went with my 3 favorite performances in this one.
That's literally what it's supposed to be.
Oh, is it? Oh,
You're doing your job just like the narrator.
fantastic. Good.
I'm just going to give this trash can to who I thought was the worst actor in the movie.
That's what I do. Right. I'm doing it right then. You're Good.
doing it right.
All right. I'm just checking. So I went with Tony Cox at number 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that scene kills me every time with the
Yes.
nunchucks and just the whole bit about fried chicken. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. I am also going with number 2. I'm going with All 3 Sons.
Nice.
Because their gimmick through the whole movie was fantastic.
Great.
And number 1, I'm going with Jim Carrey because he was awesome.
To the surprise of no one.
No one's
Yeah.
surprised. No. How I feel about Jim Carrey is how you feel about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, dude, and I went through you've maintained it. I didn't. But
Yeah.
I went through there was a period of years where Jim Carrey was number 1 on my list.
Yeah.
And he's not. I mean, now I'm more back to those other guys. But yeah, I love Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
For sure.
I thought he was great. Still do.
All right, Rye.
I normally have a lot to say about this.
I know you do.
I agree with Kurt.
Okay.
Whoa, what?
Same top three?
Yep. Tony
Tony
Cox,
Cox, the Suns.
the Suns, Jim Carrey.
Oh, look at that. Look at you
Wow,
guys.
hey.
No.
You guys finally agreed on something. No, did you disagree? You're just, I'm so happy right now.
It's amazing.
This is an incredible moment. You guys should shake hands. Shake hands. The two of you should shake hands. Nice. It's fantastic. Brady, who you got for your top three performances?
Like after that, I feel like I should change it, but like, I have pretty much the same lineup. Tony Cox, because I think this is his breakout role. Like this is like the first time that he's had lines. And
Yeah.
he showed his comedic timing and whatnot. So that's great. And then the kids, like I think this is Anthony Anderson's.
Yeah, at the time he wasn't well known at all.
The other guys, I mean, obviously they didn't go out and do a whole lot, but man, I was I watched this movie and then I showed up at my dad's house and I see Anthony Anderson's doing diabetes commercials and I'm like, what happened?
He got old.
Yeah, he just doesn't look good anymore.
No.
But he's had a great career, and this was great for him. And those other two guys, like, we could have had a spin-off movie with just those three out.
Oh, absolutely. That would have been great.
Yeah.
And then Jim Carrey. This movie doesn't work without Jim Carrey.
No, for sure.
No, not at all.
He killed it. All right, let's see what the. We know that Matt Mariner didn't have him.
No, not in his top three, right?
So we'll go see here. Number 3, he said he had all 3 sons at number 3.
All right.
For Matt Mariner.
Okay.
Good pick.
They were the most endearing and charming part of the movie, and one of the few reasons I ever revisit it 23 years later. Honorable mention to Robert Forster because he just kicks butt in any movie, but he actually gave all 3 spots to all 3 sons, so it's not all just
Gotcha.
one spot.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, the 3
Got
sons
it.
in any order.
Right.
For Matt Mariner, so I'm not going to argue there.
Nope.
Charlie Francois came in, and at first he gave honorable mention to Robert Forster, such a great actor, even though it was a small role. Number 3, he said all 3 Bailey Gates kids.
Nice.
They were a bit cliche, but they gave the absurd humor the final little push that it needed to crack me up. Number 2, this is a first out of everybody's top 3, first time he's made it on.
Oh.
Richard Jenkins at number 2.
Okay.
Okay.
For this movie, I don't know, but I love that guy.
Who
I do
is
too.
he? I don't know which one
He was the
Agent
EPA.
Beauchene, the bald.
Oh,
EPA
okay.
agent.
Okay.
yeah.
He says, I love that actor. Makes me smile every time I see him. He played the role great, and I did not see the double cross coming. Again, this was his first time seeing the movie.
Right.
Just a great performance. And so, yeah, I think this might, and I don't blame him, be colored by his general love for Richard Jenkins, which I also have. But
Dr. Dobek.
great stuff from there.
You know it.
And number 1, he went with Jim Carrey. Come on. Classic.
Yeah.
Over
Absolutely.
the top. Delightful.
Way to be, Francis.
Francois.
Oh, Francois. Sorry.
His presence on screen lets you know instantly whether he's Charlie or Hank, and the scene where he plays both personalities is just outstanding.
Absolutely.
Talking about the fight there for
Absolutely.
sure. And then Mark the Goose Gussick comes in and gives Robert Forster his number 3. No honorable mention here. He put him in the top 3.
Nice.
That's
nice.
fair enough.
I've always enjoyed this man in most things he's in, and this is no exception.
Yeah.
Number 2, he gave to the 66 Ford Mustang.
He pulled a Clint.
He says, anytime I see this car in a movie, it's going to be in my top 3.
Nice.
And number 1, Jim Carrey. So he left the kids off the top 3.
That's okay.
He says, this was during peak Carrey, and this is no exception. He was funny as hell in this movie. And I agree with everybody. I mean, I think Jim Carrey was it across the board there.
It
Yeah.
is. It is pinnacle. It is the pinnacle of his career.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think what we witnessed in this movie, I'm not overstating this to say, was a Herculean effort
Wow.
of
Yeah.
sheer will. He put this movie on his back and basically carried the thing outside of his sons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Carried it
not
on
just
his
a
back,
clever name.
right.
Not just a clever name.
He carried it. That's
No,
a good one.
he wouldn't have had to carry the movie if they just put Arnold Schwarzenegger in the thing.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
If they had give the man some help. You know what I'm saying? He was
Right.
doing it all himself.
I just make him one of the sons.
Not a Robert Downey Jr. situation like in Tropic Thunder.
No. Just one Austrian kid
one
came
of
out of
those
nowhere. Yeah. And you're like, that's weird. How'd that happen?
Like a litter of puppies?
Like a twin situation.
He's like, hey, Jamal, come here. I cannot figure out the atomic mass
He
of
would be
this.
Shantae Jr.
This quantum physics is confusing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
You mother effer.
That's right.
I think as Dickie as
The German would be
That's where I
spot
was
on.
going to go. Because
but as the Terminator.
yes,
Awesome.
Have you seen Sarah Connor? I'm
as the Terminator.
Irene P. Waters.
Yeah. He's on the green.
the EPA. I thought they were in our pocket. I think we said she'd swap out with Dean Green in Hands of Steel because Hands of Steel was a Terminator ripoff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And so it made sense. Like, just have him do it.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing here. Easy swap. You want to improve this movie. You take Daniel Green
Yeah.
and you put in Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
His hand shatters the glass in the train.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Charlie comes out of the bathroom and goes to push him and he just doesn't
Just
move.
runs into him.
Oh,
Just
how iconic would that have been if we had a Jim Carrey Arnold Schwarzenegger fight scene?
That'd be awesome. And go ahead.
Now here's the question: would it make it better if he was there instead of Jim Carrey?
No.
Jim Carrey talking to him, like Arnold Schwarzenegger talking to himself.
Arnold and Arnold
Yeah.
Arnold
as Hank and
Arnold.
I don't know if that
as
would work.
Hank and Charlie.
I mean, you know, his whole split personality thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Could have worked
think he
out.
could make it happen. He could be like Terminator versus Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Hello. What are you doing? And then to hear him do the other voices where he's like talking to himself. No, you do it. But would he? How would he change the voice though? Would he still whisper?
All right,
Would
so
he just
here's,
be
I'll
like-
tell you, here's how he would be as Charlie, right?
Yeah.
He would come in and he'd be like, hello, children. What's all this commotion in here? I'd like to remember no bitches after 11, right?
Yeah.
And then when he's Hank, he would come in and he would do it a little differently. He'd go, just because I'm made of rock doesn't mean I'm stone.
Wow. Unreal.
Okay?
That
see the
sounds
difference.
so different.
Why don't you climb up the pole and take a big steamy piss on the power lines? It would be totally different.
Absolutely.
But is
one of those I was
Kindergarten
Russian.
Cop as well?
100%.
That's right.
Climbs up the.
Climbs up the pole.
That's right. He does take a big steamy piss on
You
the power
know,
lines.
Arnold had his own split multiple role movie,
You're right, 6th Day.
The Sixth Day.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, and that came out in 2000.
Is that cool? All right, so Charlie was the only one that submitted for would Arnold make it better, and he said yes, of course. Hell, I'd have anyone replace lemon face Renee Zellweger.
Lemon face.
No.
Imagine
That was
Arnold
for
in a
you.
blonde wig.
Yeah, in Junior.
Listen to me, listen, Charlie. I'm sorry. Okay, I lied. I'm a model. Okay, I want to be an actress, but then I had this eating disorder, and then I had to go over here and I lied to be a golf person, and now I'm just here.
If
be
Arnold,
great.
if Arnold had to like shred down to play
Yes,
the
to
role
play
of
Renee
Irene,
Zellweger.
It wasn't for me.
Daniel Green manhandling Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come on.
Oh, that'd be
It
amazing.
wasn't for me. It was for you.
He says he would, but it makes more sense, is what Charlie says, to have him as Dickie. He would have made an interesting bad guy. It would have upped the stakes in the final scene, and he definitely could have pulled off the mullet for sure. All right, guys. So we ultimately have to come to a final determination here. We have to decide: is this actually a bad movie? Is this a movie that is good and everybody's wrong, or can we acknowledge it's bad, but it's something that's enjoyable enough to say this is a bad movie that rules? Mel, where do you come down on this one?
Bad movie that rules.
Bad movie that rules.
It's on the show for a reason.
All right, fair enough.
interesting.
Kurt.
I'm having a hard time with this one, man. So I have to set it because I'm such a Jim Carrey fan. I have to set it versus all his other movies. So as far as I'm concerned, it's better than Dumb and Dumber 2, but nowhere near as good as Dumb and Dumber. So because of that, I'm gonna still say it's a good movie. It's a good
Okay.
comedy. It's a comedy I enjoy to watch. I laugh at it. It's still humorous. The stuff still makes me laugh that made me laugh 20 years ago. It's hilarious. I love
Straight
it.
up good movie.
I love it.
All right.
Good movie.
Brady.
Oh, you're gonna go straight to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Kurt. It's a straight up good movie.
Straight up good movie.
I was happy to watch it.
I didn't expect this. It's taking the lead 2-1 now here. All right.
Well, this is going to put things into.
All right. Well, Ryan.
I mean, it's a good movie that sucks.
No, don't do this again.
Here we go.
You pulled this
Oh
crap
my gosh.
with Green Lantern.
He just played the
Okay.
anthem for you, and now you're gonna go. Oh, you're going
That's
backwards.
not one of the options.
I'll tell you this. I don't think this movie ages well. Like, I can't imagine other generations watching this movie and being like, oh, yeah, it's a great movie. Like, it's very much rooted into our growing up and all that. Like other generations can watch Titanic and it's like, oh yeah, it was a really
It's
big
definitely
movie.
a pre 9/11
right
America
right
movie. Yeah.
exactly. Like so I don't feel like even 10 years 20 years from now, like no one's gonna care about this movie.
That's
I don't
that's
think so.
fair.
Yeah.
We do that as a new award on the show. The Will People Care in 10 Years award.
Not as much as like our generation. Not even as much as like our generation cared about this movie because like this was a big. I remember this being a big movie.
But
back
this
in the
isn't
day.
the award isn't about
I know.
the giving
I know.
it the title of bad movie that rules.
It
It's
doesn't
not
rule.
about whether or not people
doesn't
behind us
It
are going to
doesn't
enjoy
rule,
it.
and it's not a bad movie. So
It's a good movie.
I guess it's an okay movie.
It's a good movie.
It's
Here's the thing.
He said it was a
You're-
good movie that
you're-
sucks, so therefore it's a good movie.
You're wrong.
that's fair. That's fair.
About no, not just in general, although you are wrong in general, but specifically about future generations. So I showed this to my 19 and 17-year-old daughters.
Okay.
Okay. Not the whole thing because I didn't have time. They weren't, it was prom last night. So one of my daughters was out very, very late. The other daughter was babysitting late, worked. So I had a little short window of time this afternoon to show them chunks of it.
Sure.
I showed them some pretty big chunks and left to get the gist of it. Like, okay, watch this part, watch this part. And both of them were like, this is freaking hilarious. So there's a couple of Gen Zers,
Well,
20 years removed from 1999 or 2000, whenever this
yeah,
was.
but they're your children.
Oh man, here we go. We're getting biased now.
And they're just like, and I showed them some parts that were like, I didn't just,
Sure.
I'm just saying, I don't know that
I look
future
at-
generations won't care.
I look at it like if you want quintessential Jim Carrey, you're gonna watch The Mask and you're gonna watch Liar Liar.
I don't disagree with that.
And like if you want quintessential Farrelly brothers, you're gonna watch Dumb and Dumber. There's Something About Mary. You're gonna watch
Who the
Kingpin.
frick are the Farrelly brothers?
They make those tires, don't they?
No, I don't disagree with you. This is not on the list of like
this to me-
essential Jim Carrey.
This to me is like like that's what I mean. Where it was like the pinnacle, where it's like you had Jim Carrey like coming out of the '90s and the Farrelly brothers coming out of the '90s,
I don't
and they
think-
did this, and then it was like,
I don't think this is even on the downward slope for him. Maybe
don't think so?
It's on the plateau. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was
Well, he
in
knocked it
wheelhouse
out of the park with the Grinch right afterwards.
right after. But here's the thing:
And that did amazing.
if if an alien from Mars landed here tomorrow, and we're like, before you do literally anything else, don't meet the president for sure, but don't before you meet the vice president
If
and
an
all the other
alien
people.
from Mars,
The first
landed
person you
here,
want them to meet is not the president. Okay, I'm just saying. You're gonna like, hold on, before you do anything, you got to watch some Jim Carrey movies.
and we're gonna show them Me, Myself, and Irene.
No, so I'm agreeing with you. We're not like it's not even the top 5. We're gonna show them The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. We're gonna show them Liar
Ace
Liar,
Ventura.
Ace Ventura, all
Batman
that stuff.
Forever.
Not Batman. What the frick is the matter with you? Somebody tell the fat lady she's on in 5. Okay, no, but I think Me, Myself, and Irene is for Jim Carrey fans,
I mean,
for
Bruce
comedy
Almighty
fans,
was fantastic.
is definitely good enough to be shown within the people that are the connoisseurs of Jim Carrey and of comedy for sure. It's not the broad plain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. Not only do I disagree with you, I'd say this is a straight up good movie. I think this movie is underappreciated. I think the critics are wrong. I think the audience score is too low. Across the board, this movie then and now continues to not get the love that it deserves. It's a good movie. I don't care what anybody says. It's not a great movie. It's not perfect. There's plot problems. There's some supporting actors that are, but they also tend to just cast their friends in almost every supporting role outside of a few handful of actors.
Nobody does that.
But I think this is a movie that deserves more attention, deserves more love. There are cultural aspects that right now in 2023 wouldn't be popular,
Sure.
but in 10 years from now, that's not even
knows?
going to be the same. So
Right.
you can't even say casting out into the future what the hell this is going to mean, between now and then, because this might be something that's rediscovered 30 years from now, and people go, "Why the hell weren't we ever talking about?"
I agree with you.
Myself and Irene.
Yeah.
I think it's a good ass movie.
I mean, think about like Caddyshack, right? Like Caddyshack's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great comedy.
Yeah.
It was made when our parents were kids, and yet like it's one of those things that like watching it now, I wouldn't have appreciated it without my parents liking it.
No.
But now it's like I don't know that movie would hold up in certain aspects
don't know.
of today's world, but it's fantastic. It's still great.
It is.
I think the
Same
movie's
thing
got-
with Christmas Vacation. I mean,
I think the movie's got heart. And I think the Farrelly brothers are really good at that. Like, you see that scene in Dumb and Dumber where he says, I'm sick and tired of being a nobody. And there's that real moment of heart in the movie that really, that's the moment where you're like, I'm on board with these guys for the rest of the movie. You'll put up with so much shenanigans at that point because you bought in.
You know, I'll agree with you. I think a lot of their movies have that. I mean,
and so that was in the same thing with Charlie. There was moments of that with Charlie.
Jim Carrey really hits it home.
Because Shallow Hal was like that too.
What it really comes down to is just the plot. I think the screenplay is what torpedoes the movie, and not to make a joke. I'm not trying to be punny, but like it's a very bipolar movie in that sense.
Yeah, and I acknowledge that. I think that's what I meant when I said that we saw this Herculean effort, and that he, just from his charisma and ability, rose this is greater than the sum of its parts, which plot-wise, it's got issues for us.
What about the Patreon?
Let's see what the patrons had to say, guys. So Matt Mariner said, I think ultimately I feel like this is a bad movie that's bad. But he put Jim Carrey as his trash can, so I think I'm not giving him a hard time, but I'm saying if he didn't like Jim Carrey, there's no way he liked the movie.
Right.
Sure, right?
Well, there's people out there who don't like Jim Carrey.
Right.
Yeah.
So this came out when I was like 17, and it hit all the teenage doofus marks for me then, but it just doesn't hold up the same weight and reverence as Dumb and Dumber or even Kingpin. And I wouldn't put it above either of those movies for sure.
Absolutely.
That's what I felt like when I watched it last night. I was like, I remember 20 years ago, like this movie was hilarious. And then last night I was like kind of bored with it.
Oh,
I was
interesting.
Like,
Same.
Yeah.
So
It is a little long.
That for sure. It's got to be closer to 90.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Charlie Francois said, this is a good movie.
Good job, Francois.
I wouldn't watch without friends. I wouldn't watch it again even too soon, but it doesn't deserve to be called a bad movie, even one that rules. Even though the plot made little sense.
A good movie that sucks.
And the whole thing lacked consistency. It had me chuckling more than a few times. By the time this movie came out, Carrey had already done Truman Show and Man on the Moon and was starting to have some incredible versatility.
Yeah.
I understand why some critics would have been disappointed to see him revert to slapstick comedy, and the act that could have been tired by then, but it's still a well-produced movie with some good moments, and I had fun watching it. And so extra credits. If you remember, Charlie, the last time he wrote in, said that his wife works in the film business and is a producer. And so her question because the first thing my producer wife said when I told her the $51 million budget, she said, where did the money go? I mean, I know Jim was
I'm going to say 20 of it probably went to Jim.
At this point.
Yeah.
But the rest of it didn't look like a $31 million movie. There wasn't a ton of stuff in there that you'd go, other than locations and things like that.
Yeah, but even then,
Electronic cow, maybe.
The electronic
animatronic.
You know what? That's true. An animatronic cow probably cost a great deal of money.
Which is probably why they didn't cut that scene.
It's like, we can't cut the cow. We spent $31 million on it.
And they had to rent all the uniforms for the Rhode Island State Patrol.
And the weird pants that they wear on those bikes.
And the bikes.
What's up with the weird pants?
And
what
the
are
fake
those?
mustaches.
Yeah.
Those are
They
motorcycle
The
pants.
fake mustaches are at least $10 each.
I figured it out.
I wouldn't know. I don't wear
Charlie,
fake mustaches.
Tell your wife we figured it out. It's the animatronic cow, the fake mustaches, and all the rental cop uniforms.
When can we meet his wife?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I don't know. Next time, Charlie, we've had some people do this every once in a while. If you write in again, include her awards on here too.
Well, he makes a great point too about the fact that Jim Carrey just I feel like he was, even in the height of his career, he was underappreciated still.
Yeah,
like
he was.
Nobody looked at a comedy as you should win an Oscar for this.
That was
like
his entire
he
thing.
did great work.
Yes.
That's why I was so mad when Jamie Foxx won for Ray, and after Carrey had gotten shut out for Man on the Moon and Truman Show, and they all held up his this guy talked out of his ass in Ace Ventura, and they held all that crap against him,
right?
And didn't give him any recognition.
Yeah.
Well, then here comes Jamie Foxx, who did just as much stupid crap in Living Color and all his TV show and all that bull crap.
Literally the Jamie Foxx show.
The Jamie Foxx show was just as cheesy
Over the
and
top,
annoying and over the top. And he comes in and plays Ray, which wasn't, I'm sorry, great movie, not as good of a performance as Truman Show or Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon.
Andy Kaufman was great.
And takes home a freaking Oscar. I can't explain how pissed off I was when that happened.
It was something.
Careful, you're going to make some people angry.
I don't give a
just
crap.
don't mention it on TikTok.
I don't give a crap.
Bring it on TikTok.
I like Jamie Foxx.
Bring it on TikTok.
No, I know.
I'm not anti-Jamie Foxx fan.
I'm totally with you on this one. I agree with you 100%.
Who doesn't like Jamie Foxx? Jamie Foxx is likable.
Jamie Foxx is great.
Whoa. Can't praise him either.
Apart from him winning an Oscar for Ray, which, I mean, honestly, pick another performance from 2004, though, and say that there was a better performance.
I would have to remember what those performances were.
Apart from me knowing all of them, I'm not going to submit us to that.
Your point.
But point being...
Fair point.
But point being, like you said, Carrey was like ahead of the curve there, where it's like he should have been nominated for an Oscar for The Truman Show.
At least nominated.
He won the Golden Globe
And didn't even get a
and
nomination.
didn't even get a nomination for The Truman Show.
Yeah.
He should have been nominated for Man on the Moon. There's no question. And like me, myself, and Irene, if he had not an Oscar nomination, but a Golden Globe nomination for like Best Actor in a Comedy, absolutely. Absolutely. There was a
Have to
whole
go
lot.
back and see what was not.
What else was up there? Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
One thing to remember,
right.
he is a Will Patton Award winner for it.
He is. True.
Maybe Carrey kind of paved the way for like comedians to be taken more
I
serious.
hope so because people started doing a lot more.
Well,
of that
Robin
stuff.
Williams was though too. I mean, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
Maybe Robin Williams more paved the way. I mean, he was doing Awakenings in the '80s.
I was going to say Robin
Bicentennial
Williams.
Man was great.
Robin
I mean,
Williams had 4 Oscar nominations throughout his career.
Right.
Yeah,
Jim Carrey still has none.
yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, so Mark the Goose Gussick said, I haven't seen this movie in a really long time, so it was nice to go back to it. I still enjoyed it for the most part, even though some of it really hasn't aged well. Renee Zellweger is still horrible. Wow. It looks like
I don't
she's
know the
always
hate, man.
sucking on a lemon.
I love Renee Zellweger.
I don't remember. He goes, yes, I stole that from somewhere. I don't remember, but it still fits. Another movie I'm always doing awards for with an annoying person in it.
Yeah.
Such is my life. This movie is like when your neighbor lets his dog crap in your yard for the longest time. Then after a very long time of putting up with it, the other things, you lose your mind. You come home early from work and walk into said neighbor's house and take back a newspaper that they'd been stealing, and then proceed to drop your pants and take a crap on his lawn to prove a point. That's weird. It's very specific.
That's weird. Yeah,
Which equates
it's like
to
I've seen that before.
which equates to a good movie straight up. God,
Nice.
I think the good movies won the day here.
Yeah,
You see what I did there? You're welcome. LOL. That's from Mark Gussick. So nice job.
See what he did there.
Goose.
Get it all.
he goosed it.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
And so next week, guys, we're into our next 100 here. We're at like 100 and something on the episodes at this point.
Nice.
And episode 3, back when we started the show, was a little movie called Suburban Commando.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Suburban Commando was starring the immortal Hulk Hogan.
Immortal.
The immortal.
Yep.
That's right. And it's been a long time since we've done another Hulk Hogan movie.
Wait a minute.
Wait, are you doing another Hulk Hogan movie?
No,
next week.
tell me.
Next
Is it
week.
Mr. Nanny?
It is Mr. Nanny.
Yes.
It's time to watch some kids, brother. Wow.
Hey, brother.
I mean, you put 3 ninjas in there. Wasn't it 3 ninjas? What was the one he was in?
Mega Mountain, the third one he was in.
Yeah.
Another movie I haven't seen.
And we're going back to the well with Hulk Hogan. We haven't done him in almost 100 episodes.
Nice.
So I can't wait for that. You can join us next week.
Who doesn't love Mr. Nanny?
If you've enjoyed the show and you want to see more, you want to hear more, the best way to do that is on our Patreon. So we've got our patrons on there, our wonderful patrons. They support the show. Financially, you can get on there, and we're not just going to take your money, but we're going to give you something for it. We've got bonus episodes. You can vote on episodes. You can submit awards like these guys here tonight. You heard submitting their awards for me, myself, and Irene. You can participate. Be on Discord with us, chat with us. All that stuff is available. Patreon.com/badmoviesrule. And we would greatly appreciate your support as we grow this show and into what's going to come next. It's going to be awesome.